We're dialing it up. Hello. Welcome to Fail Portrayal. We are slightly early. Because I was going to ask co-host Axe if he was okay to start early, but he has abandoned me for Crow Casual. Therefore, I'm starting early. He can't even come in here to dodge the shame now because I have pre-shamed him. Anyway, hi, welcome to Fail Portrayal. We're doing some classic jams today. Hopefully the audio bounce is okay and I'm not super loud. But we're doing the classic jams because today's theme is Gaia the Fierce Knight, also known as Anko Kishi Gaia. Which, by the way, as for my description joke, literally means Gaia the Dark Knight. Yeah, Loth is mobile right now. He is in the field. He has a very important real-life thing to do today, as we've discussed on a couple of previous streams. So he can't be with us, like, in full body, but with us in spirit. And we'll see how long this takes, because this is a pretty decently long one. It's not the longest, but there are probably more Gaia cards than you thought of. There's probably more than you remember. I'll make that slightly softer just for my own brain. But yeah, there's probably more than you mean. There he is.
I was saying earlier, I had to go...
You had to go sign into Final Fantasy XIV. That's right.
I know. No, I'm helping. I basically showed Chris. I'll help you level Blue Mage to get at least a high enough level you can then cut on your own.
Mm-hmm. Yes, and you'll be doing that until Lucky shows up. At which point you will be verboten. Because I bet you weren't paying attention to Hollow Knight yesterday. Lucky and I discussed this, and you will not be double dipping. Because I also want to play Final Fantasy XIV, but I can't do that and also click buttons on this stream.
I mean, I'm not even leveling right now. I'm like basically babysitting. Oh, I'm babysitting Chris right now, essentially.
Well, if you're not actively doing anything, that's okay. I am also one who needs to actually physically level Blue Mage, so I definitely cannot.
I will also babysit you for this, too.
Yeah, well, we'll be doing that later. But yes, anyway, Gaia, like I said, there's a lot of these guys. So, this is another one of those weird nostalgia archetypes, right? So, obviously, we'll talk about him in just a second. Gaia the Fierce Knight is one of Yugi's original cards. It is a absolutely dog shit vanilla monster. It's a, level 7, so 2 tributes with like 2300 attack. Yugi, other than the fact that everybody in Yu-Gi-Oh! Until like at least 5Ds, but I think honestly probably not until like Zexal or Arc 5 are people playing X3 copies of everything in their deck. Like, that's, at least in original Yu-Gi-Oh!, that is presented as super rare, right? Actually, I don't know. That's not true. Some GX characters might have actually been running the 3 of. I don't know for sure. I feel like Jaden was mostly running a Highlander deck, but that's just because he had 9 billion elemental heroes. But we've already talked about those. But, yeah, so, obviously Yugi had a better ace in the form of Dark Magician. But it was a Yugi card. It was used for some important stuff. It has an iconic fusion form with another one of Yugi's arguably kind of shitty but still funny vanillas, who we will also be discussing the variants of that one as well. I think I got them all, at least all the ones that are in an archetype. The astonishingly named Curse of Dragon. Yes, it's in English, so that's its actual name. Though that reminds me, for all our 14 jokes, I think I was cut off in the middle of that. My text joke description, Anko Kishi Gaia, translates literally as Gaia the Dark Knight. They just changed it to Fierce Knight because they were concerned, I guess, about stealing from Final Fantasy in English. I don't fucking know about Upper Deck's localization choices. There will be more jokes later with different kinds of knights that your boy Gaia is. But, yeah, so it's an old-school Yugi monster. It came up a couple of times. It has an iconic fusion. It has some other wombo combos. And Carlos brought this up in chat. There is a vague connection between Gaia and BLS. Depending on the part of the time there's different levels of connection, and we'll see this in different waves of support. But basically, some BLS stuff also got tacked onto Gaia because in the original anime and manga, Blackluster Soldier, Chaos Soldier as he was in the OCG, is introduced by being ritual summoned for the first time ever, the first ever ritual summon, as I believe an 8 by Yugi tributing Gaia and Karibo. So level 7 Gaia goes in there and stuff like that. So, you know, there's some connection, and you'll see a couple of crossover support cards. Usually, specifically when they decided to make BLS a proper entire archetype, around 2016. We're not doing that tonight, though I'm sure that someday Axe will probably put that one in the hopper, because I know you're actually fond of the like Super Soldier stuff.
Tried it. I think it will win because people really like, as I noticed, why at least Konami America keeps reprinting DM stuff, because that's what everyone remembers and buys.
Yeah, it's true. There was actually, like, I think when Yu-Gi-Oh was put on Netflix like a couple years ago, Konami of America put out a fucking like magazine interview where they were like, yeah, this nostalgia support stuff is important because people really like it. They buy for it, so it's why we're here. But this is very true for Gaia, because while it's been a little bit, though there is that one like alternate version coming out for Blackluster Soldier, there are new Gaia variants and Gaia supports and at least Gaia, you know, nostalgia cards, if not necessarily in the archetype, coming out to this day. There's a new Dark Magician / Gaia-themed fusion that came out literally like in the last set that hit the TCG in Monstrous Legend. So let's actually dial up the original Gaia. Nope, that's not the right tab.
I would say I at least appreciate Gaia as the one thing of like, this is like the classical like magical jousting knight, which is cool. Like I'm a horse. A knight on a horse would have a lance. 2
lances. Even. And yes, here he is, the original boy. This is his original artwork. I believe this is a Kaz original. Because this is what he looked like in the anime and manga. Gaia does have an alt art. Let me see if I can get the good cut out of that. But yeah, there's the original boy. His lances are indeed a little short. But his color scheme is pretty loud and proud. All right, let's see how huge this is. Oh, okay.
It reminds me of like X-Raider, or like
yeah,
on horseback.
A lot of Yu-Gi-Oh warriors having very similar tones. Also, you'll notice his skin is like gray-green for some reason. I guess that's why he's the Dark Knight. And here's the alt art, which I assume is based on some different manga slides as well. It's basically all the same thing. I think the proportions in the alt art are a little better, but the pose isn't quite as dynamic. His horse is, I feel like, angrier in the second art, which is on the left side, with the glowing green eyes. But, you know, there he is. This is our design language. 2 tiny little baby spears. Purple horse.
Yeah, they more... Honestly, I feel like they should be better if they're, like, short swords or, like, gladiuses, I guess, because like they were just stabbing swords instead of like actual like tiny lances.
He's got lances because Spiral Spear Strike is his specialty.
I guess there's tiny, so you can actually use both in the same hands without like overweighting himself. Considering you have to couch a lance to not tip yourself over.
But yeah, purple horse, blue and red armor. That's Gaia. Gaia the Fierce Knight, to let everybody know, is a Earth Warrior, level 7, 2300 attack, 2100 defense. So, like, in terms of old school vanillas, decent stats. You can see why this would be a higher rarity card earlier. But, again, this is when you're approaching things with a manga mentality, not a min-maxing the game mentality. His flavor text reads, "A knight whose horse travels faster than the wind. His battle charge is a force to be reckoned with." So, he's fast. He is a fast boy. And now let's discuss our other vanilla original. The one, the only. The snaky boy. The man, the myth, the legend. Oh, sorry. Hold on. That was the tiny preview. Give me the big. Load the big. Because this is another classic Kaz. Curse of Dragon. Which is translated literally as Curse of Dragon. This is a very iconic Yu-Gi-Oh! Dragon. He looks like he's made of bones, but has his muscles on the inside.
Yeah, it's like, I guess I put it as it's like, literally, I guess a dragon that was cursed to just have a bone layer instead of flesh.
Something like that, yeah. This is definitely the same design school that of like late 90s gothic horror that inspired Summon Skull, I think.
Yeah, because it's like, it feels like there's no skin but only bone, but they have organs inside.
Yeah, he's definitely got some squishy Akira Toriyama lines in there. He's got a lot of spikes. The anime, I think, and some later arts portrays him as being more metallic or being more like gold covered, but in this original art, it definitely looks very bone-like. Do love this classic Yu-Gi-Oh! Background, by the way, with the fucking light to dark transition and the purple smoke. It's good. It's a good cruxus there. So this is a Dark Dragon, level 5, 2,000 attack, 1,500 defense. Not the best for a level 5, but it's okay. And its flavor text is a wicked dragon that taps into dark forces to execute a powerful attack. So yeah, the attack is powerful. Allegedly. So yeah, this is those are the two original boys. And probably the other reason why people do remember both of them, other than the fact that Curse of Dragon is called Curse of Dragon. I don't know why, but that seems to have stuck with a lot of people. And then they really leaned into that later. We'll talk about. But the other thing, and the reason why Curse of Dragon is associated with Gaia, is, of course, they have a classic Yu-Gi-Oh! Fusion. Gaia the Dragon Champion. By the way, no idea why they went with Champion. In the OCG, this is literally Ryukishi Gaia, Dragon Knight Gaia, or Gaia the Dragon Knight. But yeah, there he is. It's Gaia. His spears actually look a little bit longer now.
It's probably because he doesn't. It's probably because he doesn't need to fall about the horse tipping over because the dragon just
it's
floats,
true. He's on a big dragon. The dragon is much larger than his horse proportionally. He is fucking shining. You know.
It just makes me think of the actual like Yu-Gi-Oh backgrounds from like the anime.
But yeah, nice, some great stuff here. But also, talking about Loth saying Yugi had some weird fusions. Yeah, I mean, I think that's because back in the day, like, polymerization, Yugo fusion was like a actual, like, weird magical spell effect that was supposed to combine any old monster. It's, later that we tried to rulify that, and we were like, well, in the anime, he only makes Gaia with Gaia the Dragon Champion with Fierce Gaia and Curse of Dragon. Like, arguably, I don't know if Kazuki Takahashi ever had any design notes on it, but technically, I think that the way that fusion cards work now, where they're usually, like, vaguely appropriate types of monsters come together to make up the new monster, is probably, like, what the ideal was, but, I don't actually know what the relationship is, but Konami does seem to have, like, an issue with cards that being translated that do things slightly different than on screen. Like, obviously, they usually nerf cards that are super broken, but, like, there was apparently a lot of debate about, like, Arata Firewall. It took several years for them to do this because they had to, like, figure out, okay, how can we rewrite Firewall Dragon's effect to not be fucking busted and ban-worthy, but also not necessarily invalidate all of our anime episodes. So, I don't know. There may be actually, like, some limitations there. Anyway, Gaia the Dragon Champion is, interestingly enough, a Wind Dragon fusion that is still level 7, but has 2,600 attack, 2,100 defense. So for a level 7 fusion, a little weak considering the materials, but, still stronger. Does beat up Dark Magician. Which I think goes to a little bit of some of Yugi's themes of, like, how 2 Wombo Combo cards become better than 1 card standalone. But yeah, it's just a guy. This is one of our classic no-effect fusion monsters. a monster that is not normal but does not have an effect. He's just Gaia plus Curse of Dragon. But funnily enough, we were already in the business of retraining Gaia from the very beginning. Because, yes, if you guys don't know, there is an old-ass effect retrain of Gaia. How old, you may ask? Well, let me put him on screen. But Swift Gaia, the Fierce Knight, pictured here.
Oh, yeah. I remember this guy.
Yeah, this guy is from... He was a tin promo in the year 2004.
I own this card from, I think, a reprint set.
Yeah, he's also been reprinted a fuck ton, it's true. He was in a structure deck. He was in, one of the legendary collections. He was in Dark Beginning, Retro Pack,
He's like one of like the first ever well, he's before Sidra, because Sidra is like late 2005, right?
I'm looking.
Because I remember he's basically like that effect before Sidra became like you special. It's like
no,
you
well,
cheat the
so
cost.
he's not a special.
It's where you cheat the cost.
Yeah, but yeah, this would be right around, because the more common print of him was Dark Beginning 2, so this would be right around when Sidra dropped. I think technically, obviously, he was available as a tin a little earlier, but it is slightly different. But it's still here. And so, yes, this is an effect retrain. And also a slight other. This one is Dark, for instance. His name in the OCG is Shippuno Ankokishi Gaia, or Gale Swift Gaia the Dark Knight, which is a little unnecessary because that was already his flavor text in Japanese, but, now he doesn't have flavor text.
I'll say at least it explains the ominous nature about a lot of his designs of being, like, why he always has got, like, a dark-themed helmet, and, like, his horse always has, like, kind of, like, magic eyes.
Yeah. He is supposed to be a Dark Knight. It's just funny enough that despite the fact that his name literally means Dark Knight, he was not a Dark Monster until now. So Swift Gaia is a Dark Warrior level 7. He has the same stats as normal Gaia, but he has an effect now, which is if this is the only card in your hand, you can normal summon this card without tributing. So you can get a free normal of a level 7 big boy with 2300 attack. This card was experimented with a little. Obviously, Loth is talking in our chat about how he tried to make him work in Prague for a while. Because being in a tin first, he was in our card bank, but it's not really that great of a card. There were a few warrior decks, like this guy was actually printed in the first ever warrior structure deck. I think there were some decks that tried to run him as just like a, hey, what if we just need a big asshole for something? Like, I need a level 7 for Metamorphosis or some silly stuff. You tried it. There are other cards that have these effects, but better. Sidra, for instance, is just, hey, if your opponent controls a monster, you can specialist for free. And later, obviously, Bubble Man was actually pretty successful. With its, you can, if you have no, if you have no other cards in your hand, you can special Bubble Man. If you also control no other cards on the field, you can draw 2, I think is Bubble Man's text. But yeah, so this is a sign of future card direction, and honestly, even though it has a ludicrous restriction of it has to be your literal last fucking card, we're still seeing arguably very modern card design, like, coming into this. And you can tell that, obviously, this card has retained some mind space because both it and the original Gaia are legal in Speed Duel. Hell, there's a Speed Duel skill if you want to play a Gaia deck. And we have one more weird bit of support that is old. Again, because there was actually a weird attempt to do some oddball support cards for, like, monster signature attacks. This is Spiral Spear Strike.
It's a rendition to the Gaia design, honestly.
Yeah.
Bigger horns.
Mm-hmm. More spiky, more spirally. Horse still looking very angy. So, this is a card from 2005. This was literally printed in Flaming Eternity. So, like, pretty good, considering then. But yeah, this is around the time that I believe you got cards like Inferno Fire Blast, Dark Magic Attack, stuff like that. And the original name of Japanese, by the way, is Spiral Shaver. That was the name of Gaia's attack in Japanese. Spiral Shaver. So this is a continuous spell card that reads, if Gaia the Fierce Knight, Swift Gaia the Fierce Knight, or Gaia the Dragon Champion you control attacks a defense position monster, inflict piercing battle damage. If Gaia the Dragon Champion specifically inflicts battle damage with this effect, draw 2, discard 1.
You know, it's a bummer you can feel like this is an archetype before archetype sort of thing where they would have said Gaia monster.
Yeah, they probably could have... Well, actually, there's other cards like Gaia Plate and Elemental Hero Gaia. They probably could have said Fierce Knight, but there's some weirdness about that. That said, because this card is actually pretty important, it is a draw engine specifically if you have Dragon Champion, and it gives you Piercing, which can be pretty important because Gaia is nowadays generally a make a huge fucking Gaia and OTK your opponent deck. You may have seen this recently in an episode of Master Roulette, where in at least one game, I think Doug actually managed to, in a single turn, summon a giant Gaia fusion and win over Farfa, like, immediately. It was a pretty good episode, actually. There was a lot of back and forth, but yeah, get some big stonks. So a lot of Gaia, a lot of later Gaia cards make sure to say they count as Fierce Knight or Dragon Champion. Not all of them, though, and I feel like they may have gotten a little away from Spiral Spear Strike as a card, but in terms of, like, iconic monster support, this one's a pretty good one. You know, especially considering this was, like I said, printed in 2005 in Flaming Eternity. Piercing damage was a lot more important. Plus, once again, you know, actually giving you incentive to make Gaia Dragon Champion. Fucking draw 2, discard 1. That's cracked. So now, chat, we're going to introduce you to a sub-theme of Gaia. So, for some ungodly reason, probably because it was one of the first fusion monsters introduced in the TCG and OCG, Konami decided to make the iconic Gaia all the extra deck types. Except Pendulum, obviously, but that's because Pendulums don't start in the extra deck. So, there are these Gaia Knight monsters, literally Gaia Knighto in the OCG, who are in the extra deck. They are appearance-wise, aesthetically, Gaia-based. Some of them actually have Gaia Synergy. Not this guy, because Gaias don't have any fucking tuners, and also he's level 6, spoiler. But some later of them have generic Warrior Synchro support. Yeah?
Honestly, I kind of see it as that... I think even the design the kind of design of the company, I think they see Gaia as like he was like the signature secondary monster of a thing. So like he was secondary. He was a signature tribute monster. So why not make him every different type as like a signature monster?
Yeah,
it's not really the best, but like the beginning.
Most of these I mean, some of them do, but like this guy, Gaia Knight, Force of Earth. By the way, he's on screen now. The Synchro one, and the Link one later are both basically vanilla. So, Gaia also a famous, you know, vanilla normal monster, no effect. So, I can see probably why they do be like that, you know? But at no point have we ever tried to actually make Gaia Synchro compatible. There is a new Synchro Gaia, even. That is fire themed, we'll be talking about much later. That is a card from literally this fucking year. Just to let you know how long this has been going on, by the way, chat. But that is more geared toward generic Warrior Synchros, especially Fire Synchros, so Infernoble. But this guy was just a decent card that, when it came out. It was in Starter Deck 5Ds, in another... it was in a lot of Starter Decks, basically, and some extra packs. So... like, this was just, like, everybody's first, you know, generic 6 Synchro. I think all of us were running this in our Prog series at one point because, being a starter deck card, he was in the card bank and was a generic 6. Because he is not locked to any particular types of tuners or other weird shit. So, Gaia Knight, the Knight of Earth, or Force of Earth, they decided to keep the redundancy out of it, but he is Daichi no Kishi. Is an Earth Warrior Synchro, level 6. Despite being one level lower than normal Gaia, he has 2,600 attack, like he's, you know, the Dragon Champion Gaia. But only has 800 defense, so they leveled him out a little there, and he is completely generic. He is just one tuner, one or more non-tuner monsters. You can slap 2 3s together, and you've got this guy. And for a level 6 Synchro, 2,600 attack is pretty good. This motherfucker beats Stardust Dragon.
Like most. like most monsters, honestly, in that era.
Well, yeah, Stardust Dragon was attack-wise deliberately underpowered because its effect is fucking busted. But it's funny. I think in Prague, several times Gaia Knight got made specifically to beat over Stardust. Because it's really hard to get rid of Stardust through normal means. But yeah, Gaia Knight didn't really add anything to the Gaia mythos, but art-wise, sorry, we've completely failed to talk about his card art. But art-wise, this is absolutely what a 5D's Gaia would look like, though. Like, he's on a robot horse now. He's got, like, himself. He's kind of a robot.
Or android, I guess, yeah.
Yeah, he's got a cool, like, faceplate with his eyes behind it, you know?
Got, like, they're kind of still, like, short lances, but they're still they're actual lances and how thick they are.
Yeah, they're big and thick. His horse still looks very angry, but it has his own little visor. He's more universally purplish instead of being blue and red, which I think works together a little better, especially with the heavy, heavy gold highlights.
They've also made all the horns, like, curved blades now.
Yeah.
Or at least most of them.
Like, really, really sleeked up his design for, like, yo, this is the 5D's Gaia, which I think actually works pretty well. Also, very decent background. It's classic, but also dynamic. It looks like he's coming out of the synchro tube. Just fucking exploding onto the scene. Pretty solid. Pretty solid.
You can almost, it's like you could image him, like, running across the person on, like, the bike. Or, I guess, the car. Or the skateboard.
And so, welcome to cards you probably don't fucking remember. Number 1. Behold the powered-up version of Gaia Knight. Gaia Drake, the Universal Force!
Sounds familiar.
His name in...
I vaguely recall this, but I think I've only seen this once or twice in my entire life.
OCG name for this card is Chiten no Kishi Gaia Draku. Gaia Drake, the Universal Knight. Again, they went with Universal Force because it makes a little bit more sense.
I mean, the weirdest thing is this guy looks like a Final Fantasy boss.
Oh, yeah, no. This guy looks like a weird Odin recolor.
He more looks like, I guess, if you made Odin light mode or something.
Yeah, something like that. Like, we need a light Odin.
If you fuse Bahamut and Odin together.
I don't want to say I hate this card art, right? Because it's actually pretty good, especially for you know, early to mid 5Ds era. This was in Star Strike Blast in the year 2010. 2010. I like this switch to him, like you said, being light mode, right? Like, he's got white armor now, the kind of an orangish red to the horns, and some are gold. The lances are now black to kind of, like, flip them and are actually spiral.
I think it's, like, more like Saphiric, or I guess how compared to, like, Endymion, where it's, like, you are now a magical knight, I guess?
Yeah. It is also interesting, by the way, they call him Gaia Drake, even though this is not one of the ones with a dragon. His horse does have wings, though, which is pretty interesting.
I feel like I call it Gaia Seraph, but I don't think that would work because they probably would not let that go through.
I also wonder if maybe this was supposed to be a little bit of a Buster Blader homage with that large, like, armored collar behind him. Which is kind of the Buster Blader color scheme.
That or Dark Magician, actually, because Dark Magician also has that too.
Yeah, Dark Paladin as well has some look like that. Yeah, so, like, I don't actually know if Kaz drew this one, but there are definitely some Kaz-like design elements. Like, look at his pinchable waist, which is covered in belts.
Honestly, I could see Kaz made the concept art for this.
Yeah, I don't know for sure, but it definitely has, like, if it wasn't him directly, somebody took some fucking notes. Like, this is a pretty good glow-up. But the reason why you've probably never seen this played is because this is a weird one. This is a card that seems almost very specifically made to work exactly with Miracle Synchro Fusion. This is an Earth Fusion monster. It is a Beast Warrior, by the way. Not a dragon, not a warrior.
I mean, I get it, because it's man and horse, I think. It's kind of a centaur.
Yeah, I mean, he's still... Actually, this is a good question. No, he's kind of built into the back, yeah. If he has legs, they're hidden. Okay, that's fair. Yeah, so they are fused together, I guess, is what they're going for, but it's still a little weird. It's level 10. It has 3,500 attack and 2,800 defense, so at the very least, these stats are worth the pain in the ass to make him. Also, everybody, you know, give a nod and salute to Loth. He's off his bus now and going to his thing. He'll be away from us for a while. We'll see if he can make it back or not.
My sad question is that I feel like this was the play because I assume Draco Quest was just better.
Probably. I think Draco Quest is literally better and easier. So, because this card's materials are 1, Gaia Knight, the Force of Earth, so you have to make the 6 synchro, and then 1 non-effect synchro monster. So you have to make 2 Gaia Knights or Gaia Knight and some other generic synchro, like, I don't know, Scrap Archfiend or something, and then
honestly,
fuse it.
I could see you making that work in a Gaia deck. Probably like you don't have tuners in the Gaia deck, so you don't bother.
I also think this was actually like a prelude to maybe some design space that got taken up later by Tenyi, because this card is actually an effect monster. This card cannot be targeted or destroyed by the effects of effect monsters. So
it actually has a good effect for all the work you put into it.
Yeah,
it's
like the problem is just what deck are you gonna shit out 2 non-effect synchros, right? And then
can you
fuse into this?
Actually, can you even like? Here's the real question: Can you? Is there an instant fusion or radical science equivalent for level 6 or lower synchros?
6? No, I don't think instant synchro works.
Because if there was, I feel like this would be like.
There are some synchro cheat cards, yeah, but no, there's not an easy way to do it.
I don't think there's one for like lower level ones, right? No.
I mean, like, there are probably some wombo combos, like, because, like, if you have a level 1 tuner you can summon out with, like, 1-for-1 or something, you just make Gaia, immediately summon a level 1 tuner, you can make Scrap Archfiend, and then you've got both targets, because Scrap Archfiend is also non-effect. But yeah, it's just a really weird one. I appreciate the effort, because, like, the result is you get a big fucking guy who is, at least monster-wise, non-targetable, non-destructible. In 2010, when, like, this was the Synchro era, monsters were popping off, you know? So, that's cool. Still a little too hard to make. They haven't really come back to this guy, but spoilers, for the Fire Gaia Synchro, they decided to remember this and may have come up with better ideas for that. So, we may see some elements of this design later. And then Gaia continues to be silent for the most part. Though, as I said earlier, when it comes time to enter the Ixie era, the Xyz era, we got one of those. We got a Gaia-inspired Xyz, which is a much better card than the Gaia Synchro. The art is not better. This is Gaia Dragon Thundercharger.
I like the face and nothing. I like the face of Gaia and nothing.
Yeah, no. This is the Gaia fell in the plastic dip.
I will say he looks like a Spawn character.
What I think he looks like is he looks like one of those action figure only versions of a character you buy in Walmart, which I think is kind of what
I said. He looks like
for.
a Spawn character, which is
okay. That's you know what? Fair enough. You got me there.
They probably make action figures every character he made.
It's true. That is true. McFarlane does make action figures, but yeah, like this is the we made a new toy to sell you, but he didn't ever show up in the show. He's got fucking Konami orbs in his ball joints. The color scheme isn't bad, right? Of like, you know, red and gold with green, but it's such an obviously like toyetic look, and not in like a really cool way. It's just like, wow, Gaia has been cursed to become a Figma.
It's not bad. I like the colors. I just don't. Really, it just feels out of place.
Yeah, I think that's it. Like, I don't hate these elements. They do look a little out of place, and also, at least in the blow up, which is the official art from Master Duel, by the way. This is the Master Duel art asset for this. Some of the lines and colors are a little weird. Like the definition on the dragon's face is a little odd, and its tail is kind of like out of shape. Again, I feel like the artist was probably deliberately going for like plastic or rubber elements, but it looks weird.
I just don't get it compared to like, say if because it's like how it's meant to feel like in the Xyz era. Why is it not like a Utopia, or is it not Utopia or like a numbers like thing?
Yeah, I don't know. Like I guess
I know the numbers are very varied, but like even then, none of them are like toyetic.
There are some design similarities. I guess
I think there's one of them, but like he's like a metal toy though.
I guess the idea we're going for is that it was kind of implied that the Zexal era was trying to refocus the show down on a younger audience, you know? Like, a lot of the characters were younger and a lot of the...
It is about an actual child.
Yeah, a lot of the setup was trying to, like, suck in a younger demographic. So I could see that maybe as, like, the notes that the artist got fed. But yeah, this is a weird one, which, like I said, is a shame because Gaia Dragon Thundercharger or Jinrai no Kishi Gaia Dragon. It's long U. A.k.a. Gaia Dragoon the Thunderclap Knight. So yes, this is his Dragoon change. Is a really fucking good card, especially considering this was in 2012 in Galactic Overlord. This guy is so good, he's only ever been printed in foil. He was a super, he was an ultimate rare only in an astral pack, and he was very recent, actually not even recently reprinted. He was reprinted about 6 years ago in Battles of Legend as an ultra. So like this guy, shiny motherfucker. He is a Wind Dragon Xyz, level 7, or rank 7, sorry. 2600 attack, 2100 defense, so same stats as Dragon Champ there. He is any 2 level 7s, so he's completely generic, but also one of our first ever inherent rank up effect. I think it might be the first one. You can also Xyz summon this card by using a rank 7 or 6 Xyz monster you control as material. Transfer its materials to this card. This card attacks a defense position monster, inflict piercing battle damage. This card was super popular in hieratic builds because it was a Dragon Xyz, which you could make naturally, or you could put it over their rank 6 after it had detached its materials for its effects and was blocked from attacking. You could rank up onto this and basically be like, and now I have a Piercer, who actually has a decent stat line. So yeah, this guy, good card. Thumbs up. Where's my fucking, like, fusion upgrade to this, guys?
I don't, because I don't think... Did you ever do a thing where it's Xyz just go into fusion besides the outer entities?
Not really, but I like Synchro Fusion was a thing. In fact, I think there's literally a card called Synchro Fusion or something now. That's like,
I mean, yeah.
They made a card that's an even better version of the whatchamacallit, the Miracle Synchro Fusion, where you literally get to like turbo out the fusion and the synchro monster to fuse them out of your extra deck.
Is it ultra polymerization? I forget.
It's something like that. It's a pretty recent card, but yeah, there's a couple of weird.
Played.
But yeah, there's sadly no overlap, which again I think is a missed opportunity, especially because this one is also wind. Like, you know, Earth was Earth and Earth. They made then the fire version. This guy's wind, like the original, Dragon Champion. And also, oddly enough, despite being called Lightning, the Link version we're going to see much later because they actually invented Link archetype support between then. Is called Lightning Shadow, but he is neither Shadow nor Light type. He's back to being Earth. I don't know. So I want to briefly mention, because this is about when it came out, what our cover card is, what I used for the thumbnail. I guess I'll pull it up just because everybody knows what we're talking about, because some people have not necessarily complained, but asked about cards being shown on screen. This is the card art for a very fun little meme card called Try and Guess, or Sanmi Itaku, 1 of 3 in Japanese. Here you can see pictured Xyz Gaia, technically a fusion Gaia, but it's, Gaia Force, and then the Synchro Gaia, and a weird Gaia-themed sigil on the ground that I don't know if that's ever come back. Sorry, my video preview is way behind. But this is a normal trap that says, if each player has an extra deck, declare 1 extra deck monster type, just Fusion, Synchro, or Xyz, because links didn't exist yet. Both players reveal their extra deck. The player who has more cards of the declared type gains 3,000 life points. So
that's
yeah,
a way to like get information, I guess.
Yeah, this is a weird meme card. Obviously, like, it's not good for any consistent strategies, but if you have anything based around getting more life, or if you wanted to try I'm pretty sure I've seen this in some Nurse Burn decks, right? Because it's similar to gift cards, a normal trap card where you can just give your opponent 3k life, aka deal 3k damage, because you just declare like Xyz and don't have any in your extra deck.
You also really see it as a way of like use it to see your opponent's extra deck when you basically pitch, when you pitch all of your extra deck to like for pot cards anyway.
Well, yeah, you still have to have an extra deck, so you need some monsters left. But yeah, so long as you don't mind them gaining 3k life if they win out on it, though obviously these days it is possible to not, because there is an entire type of extra deck monster that doesn't count. If your opponent is playing Oops All Links, they can having a big fat 0. But it does literally say both players reveal their extra deck, so you can just fucking look at your opponent's extra.
I could see some like really jank tech if you're like playing it in like sealed format, honestly.
Yes, this is probably though it was unfortunately a short print in Primal Origin, but this is a very funny meme card. Oh, this card's never been reprinted. Konami, help me out. This card's really funny.
I feel like you could do some like at least like again, I feel like someone could sideboard this for like some weird jank strategies.
Oh yeah, no, there's all kinds of like
to be like, it's
weird
like
tech.
yeah.
Like if you're a life gain deck, like if I was playing like an Arrow Mage build, I could totally see jamming this in there.
Actually, wait, no. There is also the whole thing of like Nuelia, where your entire thing is you actually banish all of your extra deck anyway.
Yeah. And technically, if you have face-up extra deck monsters, they count, so you can still declare.
True.
So there's a lot of weird, funny stuff. Yeah. So what I'm saying is, dear Konami, please reprint Try and Guess. It's a very funny card.
It's one of the only integration cards I've seen so far that actually doesn't seem bad because it's
no, because it is mutual. You have to reveal your extra deck.
Yeah, but it's also what I'm saying. You shape your deck around being where you don't give much information to your opponent, or the information is useless. So
yeah, no, there's a lot of fun there, and then it's got 3K life points is nothing to sneeze at, especially if you can turn that into damage. But yeah,
true, but
speaking of
enable Theremin.
We don't want to linger too much and try and guess. It is just a funny card. Sure. But speaking of weird oddball support, Skilled Blue Magician. Now you may be asking me, wait a minute, Omega. You're showing me a Skilled Magician after the Xyz era? Yes. Skilled Blue Magician wasn't printed until Secrets of Eternity.
Was there also like Skilled Red Magician? I forget which one was like.
Yes, there was another Yugi Skilled Magician.
I forgot what the red one was for.
Archfiends.
Archfiend. Okay. Well,
when did they also print? Okay, no. Skilled Brown Magician wasn't printed until Battle of Chaos. That's for Karibos.
That's not bad because Karibo's a whole deck.
Yeah, Karibo's got a thing, but there are technically now 5 Skilled Magicians. Blue is for Gaia, brown is for Karibo, dark is for Exactly Dark Magician, red is for Archfiends, white is for Exactly Buster Blader. So,
I have no idea how you use Red Magician because Archfiends aren't really a deck.
I mean, I think they've got enough generic Archfiend cards. You could probably shape it as a Fiend strategy.
I mean,
but
it's where you put Archfiend cards in like certain Fiend decks. Like if
but so Skilled Blue Magician is, I mean, he looks like a Skilled Magician, right? He's got the spell counters in his shoulder. His armor seems Gaia-inspired, and obviously taking from the original color scheme where Gaia was blue, he has a weird double lance thing with more skill.
I kind of wish,
spell counters?
Spell counter and stuff. I kind of wish he existed like 5 years before it got released.
Yeah, in 2010,
just so I
probably
could have used it in
card.
any Gaia deck ever.
Yeah, I mean, I think the reason why he came about was because I think this would have been, because this would be technically early Pend era, this would be about when Endymion was getting his big glow up.
Also,
so Konami remembered spell counters existed.
Spoilers, just placing down a pendulum count is activating for a spell for the sake of spell counters?
Yes. Scaling pendulums, those count as spell cards. This is why Pend Endymion works. That said, there are no pendulum guys, which is also an interesting crossover there. But yeah, so Skilled Blue Magician here. He has, it's a decent attempt to take this look. He looks like a Skilled Magician, but blue, and Gaia blue. The unfortunate problem is he has absolutely no fucking synergy with Gaia as a deck.
Nope. You don't really.
Dallas is here.
All the spells you really have in Gaia are like fusion spells or continuous spells.
Yeah, or your field spell.
This is the worst part. There's like, because he needs 3 counters, right?
Yes. Let me actually just read the whole thing because there's a couple of interesting tidbits here. He's a level 4 light spellcaster, which again not really relevant. He's 18/18, so he does have decent stats. But he says each time a spell card is activated, place 1 spell counter on this card when it resolves, max 3. You can tribute this card with 3 spell counters. Special summon 1 Gaia the Fierce Knight monster from your hand, deck, or graveyard. You can banish this card from your graveyard. Target a card you control. You can put a spell counter on. Put a spell counter on it.
When was this released?
2015 in Secrets of Eternity.
Okay, then no. Okay, so there's 3 reasons this is a fail. I have 3 whole reasons.
Like I said,
one as Omega alluded to. There are like 3 spells that are usable in the deck.
I said
there's whoever, but it's the field spell, the fusion spell, and then oh god, I can't remember what it's
the Strike
spell. Yeah, that one.
Which is a continuous spell, actually.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, and regardless, the other problem is I don't really see that much of a benefit in special summoning a monster type whose monster thing. Like, one of their niches is being able to cheat themselves out.
Yes.
That's kind of Gaia's thing, in my opinion. Or one of them, at least.
Or at least trying to always cutting down costs.
Or at least the Gaia half.
Yeah.
If this like somehow said Gaia and or Cursed Dragon monster, it would actually be a better card.
Yeah, because Cursed Dragon, the cursed Dragon, the
Sadly,
Cursed
we
Dragon
didn't.
actually has a good on summon effect.
We didn't realize yet we were doing that. That's the sad part, right? Like, considering this was 2015, this was some of their first brush with this kind of nostalgia support. Skilled Blue is a decent attempt because, as I said, the problem with Black and White Skilled Magician these days is obviously being spell counter cards. They're kind of slow, but in Dark Magician, anyway, you play a fuck ton of spells. The problem with Skilled White Magician is he only fetches Dark Magician, which literally all your other cards are designed to do without using your normal.
Yeah.
So, like,
I don't
he's
think
just
there's
too
a
slow.
single Skilled Magician that is good.
I think the Karibo one might be good, but he was printed literally last year, so.
Well, yeah, that's why. Okay, I didn't know there was a Karibo
Yeah, no,
one,
there is
but
a Skilled
that's
Brown
also-
Magician, but he's new.
Yeah.
Red, white, black, and blue are not very cool.
Once again, the fucking power creep in Yu-Gi-Oh is. That's another thing I've noticed from going back to Magic. Holy crap, is the power creep different in Yu-Gi-Oh? It just is. It's different.
They have to make basically alternative rotation by just making the new set of cards the strongest cards to go with.
Like,
I mean, they don't always do that. They do, I think, some of the cards do pour
I
if
just
they are
think
not
it's
new and
wild
interesting.
that I'm back at a card game where destroy all monsters in field is like
Well, yeah.
means something and is
Matt,
great.
It's actually something it's premium.
Well, I
actually,
mean,
yeah.
it might mean something in Yu-Gi-Oh as well. They recently added revealed that Dark Hole Dragon monster.
Oh, yeah.
That's true.
Yu-Gi-Oh is weird because it's not an openly rotating game, but it does go through like peaks and valleys. For instance, especially in Master Duel right now, but even in the TCG, we're in kind of a main deck renaissance because Lab is pretty good. And hey, I've been playing the shit out of Lab in the Fairy and Fiend Festival. You don't fucking need your extra deck. Like, it's cute. You can summon nightmares and like occasionally make like Muckraker from the Underworld or some shit, but you don't need your fucking extra deck.
I mean, I have to ask you very importantly.
Yeah.
What's your favorite virus card you're using?
You can't use them in the festival.
Oh, okay.
You can't.
But
No, that's not true. Omega, you can use one.
oh, is it Crush
I
Card?
don't know if Lab works well with it. No, you can use a deck devastation.
You can use Deck Dev? I don't think that's really helpful in the festival. You're right, though.
No, it's not.
Out of the festival, in ranked, yes, I am in silver playing my one copy of Eradicator because Lab could loop that forever. Konami, you probably should ban it if you want it to go away because
Really should ban that
that's
card.
that's the problem. Lab is a deck that plays around exactly one Eradicator very easily.
I've
You
said,
can get that very quickly.
I've said this before. Yu-Gi-Oh! The problem with non-rotation formats, because I don't actually play a lot of the rotating formats in Magic, but the problem with non-rotation formats is the same problem it is in Magic, with
Need an aggressive
not
ban
the
list.
new cards that are the problem. It's how the new cards interact with the old cards sometimes that is where serious problems start
Welcome to the smoke grenade of the thief problem.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah. By the way, speaking of like cards that are known for being able to cheat themselves out, this is another card from 2015. This was in Dimensions of Chaos. This is Charging Gaia, the Fierce Knight, or Shisho no Ankokishi Gaia, Galloping Gaia, the Dark Knight. Kind of wish they'd kept
This
the
card actually
alliteration.
saw like tournament play.
Yeah, this card is good actually. Also, this art is sick. Love these
I
fucking
remember
colors.
this art a lot, actually.
Gaia
It's very
has,
clean.
like, a lot of really good art.
And
Like,
some
the
not
thing-
so great. We already talked about Sky Dragon, Gaia Dragon, the Thunder Charger. He looks a little derpy.
Oh, I like Gaia Dragon the Thunder Charger art. It looks dumb, but I like it.
That's fair.
I like Gaia
I like
Drake.
parts of it.
I like
Gaia
it because
Drake
it
is
just
pretty
makes you think of like literally just makes you think of like a fucking Final Fantasy VI boss.
This guy is just like speed lines the card. Like I love it.
Oh yeah, this just he's like this is not like this feels like it's
This
this feels like a Brains era card, but it's not a Cybers.
not quite.
Or it's-
Though we will see the Link Gaia later.
Actually, no. It makes me think of like a comic book cover.
Yeah. I was gonna
Oh, yeah,
say
this is
the
very
way these weird speed like not even lines but like speed bits is like. It's not quite, but this is almost like with the weird colorization. Like we're getting close to the Gaia the Fierce Knight as presented by JoJo's Bizarre Adventure almost.
presented by Rocky.
It's not quite stylized enough. To
Not
be
quite
that.
enough, but it's getting
color-
there with like the speed lines and the
colors are
color
there,
palette,
but,
and
uh,
certainly Gaia is built like an early JoJo Part character. Look at that
He's
big
totally like a basically like a redesigned Phantom Blood character. Yeah.
No, I could even see part 3. Like, it's just past part 3.
No,
No.
that's when
I
Araki
mean, yeah,
slims
because it's
down.
like, what's the other guy's name? Is that Buford? Like Buford and who else?
Yeah, Tarukas.
Buford.
Oh yeah,
Buford and Tarukas.
I feel like he could be the third knight or something. there.
Probably. Though, funnily enough, while he's still called Ankokishi Gaia the Dark Knight, this guy is light. This is a light warrior, level 7, 23, 21, normal Gaia stats. You can normal summon this card without tributing. If this card is normal summon without tributing, its attack becomes 1900, so basically he's a Klee. If this card is tributed, add a Blackluster Soldier monster from your deck to your hand. You can only use this effect of charging Gaia once per turn. So, sorry, what were you saying, Dallas?
Yeah, this card is
Let's call them
interesting in that, like, Gaia has never been competitive.
No.
I apologize to the Gaia stands in the chat. There's never been a blip of Gaia on the radar.
If Lop was here, I think he'd say he knows, but doesn't mean he won't stop trying.
But this particular Gaia, at least, and a couple other Gaias actually, like, Gaia cards have found their ways into tournament decks as different things. Like this guy, for instance, like I bet you mentioned already, Gaia Charger was like an Xyz era staple.
Yeah, Gaia Charger
For a
was a
long
very
time.
good card, because it was, I think, the first like inherent rank up effect. And the battle phase still mattered, so the fact that you could just go...
I don't think it was the first one, but I think it was the first generic one.
Yeah, that's true.
There
Like,
was some, like,
just
stuff
if you
in
have a rank 5 or rank
different
6, you can
archetypes.
make a rank 7 who has piercing and a decent stat line, you know? Just he's a guy. He also doesn't give a shit about how many materials he has. So like there's
But no, this guy was
options
great
there.
for skill fodder.
Yeah.
He was, and even Xyz decks.
Yes, because he's
certain decks.
still a level
Although
7.
That was a lot rarer.
Yeah.
Because there haven't been a lot of great level 7 decks.
I honestly thinking about it, I'm
when
kind of
there
shocked
were
that
before
Konami
this.
didn't try and make a Pendulum Gaia deck, because I think that would actually be ideal. Gaia already uses so little of its back row, and just do a 1 to 8 scale, and you can summon
Yeah,
Gaia.
But I think
You know, the weirdest thing
Pendulum
is, I feel like
was
they
in that-
could they make a retrain of the original Gaia, like just to have better stats.
I mean,
So-
possibly.
Konami. My opinions on Konami has always been that they are not very in tune with their fan base a lot of the time. I think that's fair to say. Because this was from the period of time where Konami was like, no, nostalgia doesn't exist. We're not reprinting old cards. That was
yeah.
the Pendulum era. We need to get past all this old stuff. Only new. And
Yeah, they
everyone
have
didn't
kind
like
of
that.
there are weird bouts of that, because it was about like a few months after this card came out that they actually tried to dial us up some actual Gaia support. And even then, most of that Gaia support, not all of it, but most of it, was, as you notice from this card, kind of a slant way to bring Blackluster Soldier back in, which I think may have just been a attempt to cash in on nostalgia, because Chaos BLS was just taken off the ban list during this time period, which is also probably why this guy is light, because he sets you up for, you know, BLS banishes. You know? So, like, Konami has lines and angles, and I think that nowadays they're trying to be much more in tune with the fan base, like literally answering fucking shareholder questions about the OCG and shit like that.
I think I've
releasing the
said this
2-player starter
before.
set, you know?
I think I said this. I don't know if I've said this on air before. I think the biggest problem is Konami seems to have the same attitude that a lot of companies do, and that they don't want to be like a nerdy company.
But they're a card game company. What else would they be?
Yeah, but no, that's the thing. Like, I don't know. For a card game, I would say
They don't-
Yu-Gi-Oh!
they don't really make
probably
video
has
games
the
anymore.
Most normal fan
Well, they're bringing that
base.
back.
Now,
Yeah.
granted, that's not saying a lot, but
No, I don't think it's saying a lot. I mean, I don't know what the Pokemon fan base is like, but I know that they're
that's
wrapped
true.
up in the Pokemon.
Pokemon is a giant question mark to me.
They're wrapped
I
up in the
assume they're
Pokemon
all
fandom,
11.
which I have seen the sideshow from a little bit, so I'm not
Yeah.
going to say that Pokemon
I know
TCG
the
players are
Pokemon-
normal.
I know the Pokemon game.
Is there any horny full arts of Gardevoir cards? Do they
Yes.
exist? bet they do.
There's
As
actually
official cards, probably not. There's enough playmats.
there's actually horny cards of official human characters though.
But that also, I mean, that doesn't shock me.
11-year-olds?
I think
Yeah.
that no. There's a lot of adults in Pokemon who are fucking hot. I suspect that somebody must be like, fucking repressing the Pokemon art team a lot, which is why a lot of the NPCs of like gym leaders and professors and stuff are so fucking hot all the time.
It's also because they
Well,
have to be unique designs, so just
The
pay.
reason I say that though is because when I think of a Yu-Gi-Oh fan, the people I picture are like people like Simo or like Gage, who are just, or even MBT when
They're
he
just like
doesn't
card.
talk.
I
game
mean, I
people?
just have
They
to.
just look like normal people.
In my mind, well, yeah, that's MBT's superpower, looking like a normal person. Yuck, yuck, yuck. But
looks-
no, like literally, when you said picture a Yu-Gi-Oh fan, I just pictured the like talking head thumbnail of Farfa and MBT talking at each other.
Yeah. Like, I need to send you this. When Magic do official events, these are official Wizard events, they fucking demand the players cosplay.
So
It's
I just want I need to
ridiculous.
say this because you guys have put this stuck in my head now.
Sorry, go for it. I'll pull up
Okay.
our next boy
What
while you're doing it.
What do you guys talk about MBT? It's like what we're saying is when I think about MBT is like besides his ability to say besides saying just weird shit as a lark, he's also like actually thinks really hard about like game theory and like card design.
No, he's a nerd.
He actually thinks
like,
about it really hard compared to most
Well,
other
I
people
think
know.
honestly, he's going back to law school, so I think it's safe to say the man has lawyer brain, which is honestly not a terrible idea to have in game design, to think of things as like logical sets of rules and precedent and like terminology. There's a reason why we call it rules lawyering.
It's kind of why I feel like people like his like prog reactions because he actually thinks about shit.
Yeah.
He actually
No,
thinks about it.
MBT is a very canny and savvy Yu-Gi-Oh player and enjoyer, and honestly is actually like, in terms of like political opinions and ethos, more on the progressive end. He's not like secretly watching or not so secretly watching, Andrew Tate videos. Also, I don't know how anybody can take that guy seriously. The dude looks like a thumb, but whatever.
Dude. Yeah, that's the other thing I've noticed. How is there a huge crossover with the Yu-Gi-Oh fandom and the Dude Bro Fuckboy fandom?
I think
Which is
that's
really
also
weird because
Yeah.
also I
Because
want to
it's a
say
trip.
this, and I say this not as like an attack or anything. There's also a lot of trans people in Yu-Gi-Oh, and
Yeah,
other
well-
LGBT adjacent people, probably because the original show is also like really weirdly
Kinda
gothic.
gay?
Yeah, and there's some gay undertones there as well. There's a lot of
Like,
bromances
What do you
and
mean the first 2 seasons of Yu-Gi-Oh are kind of a little gay?
let's not say that
Like,
Yu-Gi-Oh's not got
that's
some
really okay
major
reading you can have. There's
let's
really a
let's
reading
not
you
just
can-
say
of the
that there's
text.
like not like horny Coomer brain stuff in Yu-Gi-Oh either. Dark
No.
Magician Girl is very marketably designed, but also there's a lot of other
That
stuff going
also
on there.
appeals-
There's a lot of
that also
muscly dudes in
appeals-
Yu-Gi-Oh,
There's
like
a-
this
there's a
guy.
scale of, like cutesy to like it.
Look at this
this is
guy's
like-
fucking abs.
Hey, Mega, what was that Genesis Star Fantasy space fantasies setting?
Keyforge? You thinking of?
I was thinking of the other one where it was like the lion people and so on.
Oh,
like
the different arts for that's the space opera Twilight Imperium.
Yeah, this guy
It's
just like a
actually
Twilight Imperium Space Knight.
Yeah, he's a
I
little.
feel like I need to find my Venn diagram of the gayness of card games. I actually have this. The most gay fan base is Magic by far.
I mean, Magic
think
is the
Magic can make
largest, so that makes
polymorphic
sense.
good.
But also, they
Well, no, I mean even by percentage-wise, it's
Oh, okay.
well because it crosses over a lot with D&D fandoms, and there's a lot of things about repression and social outcast nature of stuff
I'll take your
that I
word
could
for it.
go into, and yeah.
we don't need
Not
to
here.
debate that
Yu-Gi-Oh's kind of
psychology. But
middle.
I mean, ironically, Dallas, that is kind of the same thing that does happen in, or not ironically, but as you
Oh,
said,
no.
that kind of I think is the same thing that happens in Yu-Gi-Oh, where you get this clash between like you have like socially maladjusted but able to lift weight dude bros who don't understand how to interact with women because the only people they interact with are at the gym or
Or
at the
pickup
card
artists.
shop.
Or just toxic dudes. Yeah.
And then you've got people who are socially repressed or awkward because of other things going on with them.
Yeah.
So
that's
like
true.
it's fandom and hobby culture has gone through some shit. Never mind that like there's also was during the pandemic, there was a huge explosion of hobby culture in general.
Oh yeah, also just to actually talk about the art of the card. I think the lances, I think these are like the best lances so far, and maybe like the best headpiece of like the horse. But I think the rest is kind of fucking whatever.
Okay, I have two problems with this card.
Yes.
And one is just going to be a continuing theme of Gaia cards. Dual-wielding lenses will never not look silly to me.
It's a little goofy, yeah.
Well,
especially when they're very tiny.
Buy it and move on, because if you can play about it every time, it's not gonna get anywhere.
It's true, but yeah, this is his first time to say this piece. The double lances are a little silly. Is your second thing the fact that he's got goggles?
I thought it was just part of the helmet.
I didn't notice that, but now that I noticed that, yes, that is one.
It's not really goggles.
No,
I mean, they are supposed to be his visor, but they look like goggles.
The horse drill horn is the other one.
I actually think that's cool, considering he's like fucking riding on the stars.
I mean, it's a little. I think it's an okay like embellishment. It's a little too big for my liking proportionally.
That's what I mean. It's just.
He's a fucking star, maybe, yeah.
Like an anime character.
I just think his armor looks fucking awful.
This coloration of his armor is not super great. Also, going back to the comparison you made a long time ago, Axe. This is very Axe Raider styled armor, like showing a lot of bicep and ab and thigh.
There's like literally fucking pec plate, and he's wearing basically like a jockstrap.
This is closer to like classic Yu-Gi-Oh design, in my opinion.
Oh yeah, this is definitely inspired properly, but very awkward. I think part of it's the armor curve, but I have to imagine that this guy is fucking caked up. Like, just from the curve there, like,
his
powerful
thighs are
glutes.
super fucking thick.
Yeah.
This looks like Hans and Franz became a fucking Gaia person.
Which is funny because this is Kakusei no Ankokishi Gaia, a.k.a. Awakened Gaia, the Dark Knight. They translated that as Arisen Gaia.
This is just a JoJo character.
This is Arisen Gaia, the Fierce Knight. So, this card was released... okay, no, he was about a month after the last one. That was, like, late 2015. This came out in Breakers of Shadow in early 2016, like, literally in January. So this is the dark accompaniment of the charging one, meant to be the other half of the Chaos engine. So this guy's dark, level 7, Gaia stats. If your opponent controls more monsters than you do, you can normal summon this card without tributing. If this card is tributed, special summon a Blackluster Soldier monster from your hand or graveyard. You're going to use this effect of Arisen Gaia once per turn. When you ritual summon a Blackluster Soldier, you can banish this card as one of the monsters. So, as with Charging Gaia, you start to see Konami's original design ethos was to try and harp on the nostalgia of, Yugi used Gaia as his tribute material for Blackluster Soldier, for Chaos Soldier. Let's make Gaia a Chaos ritual package, right? This one's obviously dark. The previous guy was light. They, have these interactions.
It does better with the Chaos Squires, honestly.
Yes.
And then they just also there were a couple of monsters released around this time. You might have heard of called Abyss Wyvern and
the boys, the Dark and Light Dragons.
So why would you ever run Gaia?
Yeah, Chaos Dragon underscoring also pretty good.
Also,
so,
why would you ever run BLS? But still, even if you were to run
I
BLS.
mean, if you can actually pull it, hold on, fighting a sneeze a little. Chaos Gaia, actually still like an okay card, not perfect, but still usable. Like, especially if you're already running a Chaos package.
Chaos Luster?
Yeah, and not Chaos Gaia. Have they made a Chaos Gaia? That'd be funny. But yeah, Blackluster Soldier Chaos version is good on Envoy of the Beginning. And the Link Blackluster Soldier is very funny in the right decks.
Oh yeah, the Link one is probably but he's never been good in Blackluster Soldier deck.
You can try and make the Ritual BLS work, because you can actually produce some very good effects, but in general, I think that's kind of gone the same route as Gaia. Alt format
kind of
and locals staple, who is, good for blowing out your buddies at like locals and kitchen tables. Not going to take anything higher than that.
I'm going to be honest, even as me, the purveyor of jank in every card game I play, apparently, I can't even bring myself to run Ritual BLS because it literally, you can't build it to work correctly. It will just you draw the wrong cards.
Yeah, it has a tendency
literally-
of
It requires you to be Axe, basically. Axe
Even-
could probably run it.
Actually, no, I've tried. It only worked out 10% of the time.
See, even Axe's luck can't make it work.
It's also because it's just
That's
like
bad.
the cards, because the engine itself is not consistent enough to pay off anywhere. So I need
That's what
again.
I mean. It
I
has
make
no
shit work because I try to make myself idiot-proof most of the time.
You can't make it idiot-proof. That's the problem.
I can't make Guy idiot-proof.
But
You
we
can make Gaia idiot-proof.
we
You can't
did
make
get
Gaia.
another funny one.
It's actually a good card.
We got another funny nostalgia support here. This is Curse of Dragonfire. In Japanese, the OCG, this was Gokuen no Curse of Dragon. Infernal Curse of Dragon. They went Curse of Dragonfire because that's way funnier. So this is
Also,
your
Curse of Dragonfire sounds cool.
this is your requisite effect retrain of Curse of Dragon, which took them a lot longer to do than of Gaia. Art-wise, this is pretty good. It keeps the same
Yeah,
feel of Curse of
no.
Dragon, but, makes him glowing red with infernal flames and shit.
And like slightly more metallic, but not
Yeah.
like an obscene amount.
Which
so it
is
still looks
okay
like-
because, like I said, in the anime, they tend to draw Curse of Dragon like he was metallic. I think the original card art looks a lot more bone-like, but yeah, this kind of marries the two designs in a pretty cool guy with some good fire effects.
Yeah, it's like crystalline metal, or like it's like some kind of like superheated alloy, which is cool to me.
I feel like this hits the sweet spot between Yu-Gi-Oh and Magic's dragon design, whereas every Yu-Gi-Oh dragon looks like a fucking scribbly mess. And if you showed me two Magic dragons side by side, I literally could not tell them apart.
Yeah.
Unless they had a name, but even then, sometimes no.
I mean, there are some very distinct dragons, but I'm thinking of like the actual EDH dragons you use.
Well, yeah,
Well,
but
yeah,
those
but,
those
like,
guys are like...
Axe,
Dallas is
you
saying,
don't
like,
understand.
I-
you
a
know
lot of
how
dragons.
much dragons are pushed in Yu-Gi-Oh? Dragons are pushed harder in Magic.
Yeah, no shit.
All
Oh,
right.
so many goddamn dragons.
But yeah, like it's definitely
It's a
like
whole- it's a
this guy
type, yeah.
keeps the distinctive silhouette while being very recognizably different. So Curse of
Yeah.
Dragonfire is a dark level 5 effect dragon. If this card is normal or special summoned, target a field spell card on the field, destroy it. Once per turn, you can fusion summon one fusion monster from your extra deck using monsters you control as fusion materials, including this card. So yeah, this is a decent card. I think it's been outpaced by other Curse of Dragon like retrains, but for the time being,
You can still run one of these for
Yeah.
like destruction effects.
he is still a valid material for several of the Gaia fusions. He
Yeah.
is an effect
He's not a
dragon that
three
is
of, I don't
dark,
think
so you
anymore.
can make that work. And field spell popping, not the worst. And
I've
he's
seen
an
this
on-field
played
poly.
in- I've seen this and other Curse of Dragon cards show up in Dragon Link decks.
Yeah, because he's a dark dragon that
Weird
destroys
lines.
things. And the only material required is that he has to be material. There's quite a few targets that will work for, in Dragon Link decks. So now we're going to get another weird one that you may never have seen, because this was our requisite weird retrain from the movie, from Dark Side of Dimensions.
Oh Jesus!
This is Lord Gaia the Fierce Knight. Ankokishi Gaia Rodo. So the more literal translation
no,
would probably be Gaia Lord the Dark Knight.
Yeah, Omega. This has shown up in a couple of places.
Okay.
It's actually like
I mean,
actually
he's
like the way
basically,
this art
I'll say,
looks.
spoilers, he's a Sidra, like straight up a Sidra, so that probably makes
Yeah.
sense.
Spoiler,
So,
he's shown up in Fusion and/or Link decks. Generally, a warrior.link.deck. I've seen
Yeah.
in a couple.
Honestly, the way I like this is like I guess it's meant to be like Guy after a times where he became literally a lord of.
yeah, this is Gaia's Fire Emblem promotion.
For sure, yeah, he became a
This
dragon
is great,
general.
Lord Gaia.
Yeah, but I mean,
Yeah.
no, tell me that's not true. Like, he's got bigger,
No,
more
you're not wrong.
ridiculous
He's a
lances.
wyvern, he's a wyvern lord now.
Yeah.
I have one problem with it. It's just a tiny problem. Like, the fuck happened to Curse of Dragon?
Yeah, I don't
Well,
know what's
technically it's
going on with
something
this
else.
other dragon. He's got a
This
noodle
isn't
dragon
Curse of
friend.
Dragon, is it?
He's got like
I-
an Eastern style dragon,
I don't know.
No, it's not.
kinda.
I
No, no.
assume this is because it was from Dark Side of Dimensions pack. I assume this was another redraw that Kaz did. Even if it's not, it kind of it still
No,
has some
this
hallmarks
isn't
of
a
his style.
Omega, this isn't a Kaz art. I can tell you why I know that.
Is it because it's not
Because
signed?
all of the official Kaz arts aren't in Master Duel, and this one is.
Ah, that's true. It's also not signed. So yeah,
That's how I
that's fair
know.
enough. Then he probably had some input on it, but yeah, it's got some design notes for Gaia, which I don't mind. The dragon is weird looking, but that's okay. A lot of Yu-Gi-Oh dragons are. I'm not quite sure where the teal for like his saddle gear is from. That's a little odd to me, but it's not the worst,
I think
I
the
like his
biggest
flowing
problem I
cape, and I
have-
like his giant flowing hair. That's cool.
So, I'll be honest. The problem I have is the way that this is drawn makes his head look very weird. Like if you really look closely at it, it looks good, but from a distance, it looks very.
Yeah, I
like
think
he's
I had
wearing
that
a
moment
hat.
where I had to double check what's going on with it.
Is he wearing a hat?
Yeah. Yes, he's wearing a helmet. The perspective's a little off, but yeah, he's wearing a helmet. But yeah, so this is a pretty good looking one. Not that you'd be able to tell very much in the TCG because,
It's
well,
only movie secret rare.
no, there's the Ultra and Gold Rare version, it's true, but the most common you've seen is the Secret, so it's blurry as fuck. But yeah, this is a, somehow still an Earth Warrior level 7. Also, despite being ranked up, he's only still 23-21. But, as I said earlier, he is a Sidra. If your opponent controls a monster and you control no monsters, you can special summon it from your hand. Once per turn, soft once per turn, by the way. If a monster with higher attack than this card is special summoned to your opponent's field, except during the damage step, you can make this card gain 700 attack until the end of this turn. So he does go to 3k if your opponent special summons, which is pretty decent. He is a free level 7 special, if you're starting. So there's definitely, I think, some interesting, utility here. But yeah, mostly you'd see this in warrior.deck.
Yeah,
because
I've seen
it's
it
just
quite
a
couple
free special.
times. In warrior.link.deck and in some warrior synchro decks. Unfortunately, the most common warrior synchro type now can't really make use of him because he's Earth.
That's okay,
Fire.
Dallas. That's why they made a fire version of the Gaia Synchro and the Gaia Synchro Fusion. We'll be talking about that later. It's like Konami said, oh, what's that? Infernoble needs more support? Why don't we just make a fire Gaia?
Push Infernoble further.
We've heard about this. Sony bought this Fate Grand Order franchise. We've been hearing about these French Knights. Sadly, I don't think FGO's Astolfo is way more marketable than Infernoble Knight.
Oh,
Astolfo.
God.
I like their Astolfo design.
I mean, their Astolfo's okay. It's just
I also
not.
think they're better. I think they
as
also
much.
Gary and Radamonte design looks fine too.
Is it heretical
Monte's
to
pretty
say
cool.
that I think Astolfo is the most recognizable FGO character? No, I'm not even gonna say that. The most recognizable Fate character at this
I
point.
think- It's
Entirely
because he's just
possible.
He's very specific in the way he's designed.
I
There's
mean, you're not wrong, but
he could be like there's a couple I would think that it would be, but yeah.
I don't know.
Anyway,
I
during
can't-
this time period as well, we also got a new fusion. This was in the Millennium Pack only, so this was like a weird nostalgia pack setup. You can tell it's very clearly supposed to be, and specifically, by the way, is Sky Galloping Gaia, the Dragon Champion, Tensho no Ryukishi Gaia, Gaia, the Sky Soaring Dragon Knight in the OCG. I'm pretty sure this is meant to be charging Gaia, but it could be Gaia the Arisen. He's still, wearing his armored underoos, and Curse of Dragon Fire, obviously.
Yeah.
But yeah, so
I have a confession to make. I've never been able to take this card seriously for the dumbest reason.
why? Is it the thighs?
What?
Every time I see it, I read it as Gelumfing Gaia.
No, I can see that.
Very
I don't
valid.
know. I mean, I like the alliteration of Galloping Gaia, but the problem is that there was literally one that was called Galloping Gaia, and they didn't use that alliteration. And you could translate this literally as Sky Soaring Gaia, and that would still be alliterative.
I think yeah, soaring, scoring. Yeah.
Yeah, so yeah, no, that's okay. Yeah, art-wise, I mean, it's Gaia riding Curse of Dragonfire. It's very fiery. That's cool.
It's very okay. It's very.
It's not the best, but it's not probably not the worst. Some
I
of
think
those
the
guys were
art
blurry.
is good. The problem is the perspective and the
Yeah.
what the unfortunate result of the flame mixing with his color is.
Yeah.
And that he's green, and I hate it.
Well, Gaia himself is already a little green, but
Yeah, but he's like puke green in this.
it's true. The coloration's a little weird. So this is another Wind Dragon fusion. It's obviously meant to be a retrain of Dragon Champion, because he has Dragon Champion in his name. He's the Dragon Knight one. 26-21, it's the same stats. 1 Gaia the Fierce Knight monster, plus 1 Dragon type monster. So, eminently makeable. Very, very solid materials. This card's name becomes Gaia the Dragon Champion when on the field. When this card is special summoned, add a Spiral Spear Strike from your deck or graveyard to your hand. When this card declares attack on an opponent's monster, you can change their battle position. For 2016, support, this is really good. Like, for 2016, this is pretty good. It becomes the original Dragon Champion, which means it is a valid card for Spiral Spear Strike, which you can search from your deck or graveyard. It lets you switch their attack position on attack deck, so you can put them in defense mode, where usually monsters are squishier.
And it's kind of just straightforward to make. Like,
yeah. Any Gaia the Fierce
one
Knight
of the
monster,
reasons-
of which there are quite a few, and any dragon asshole. Very
it's
easy.
one of the reasons I've infinitely liked, my brain just died. Gaia more than I have BLS. Because as a deck, it is just so straightforward, and the payoff is technically worse than BLS's payoff, but the amount of times you get to that payoff is like 99%.
Getting to a good Gaia fusion who has a fuck ton of attack and does piercing is very easy.
So easy.
You weren't here yet, Dallas, but I mentioned this. This was a recent subject. There was a Master Roulette episode where Doug got the Gaia pack. Farfa was also playing something good that I can't remember right now, but there was one Doug match where he just was going second. He made a big fuck-off Gaia, and Farfa basically just died.
Won? Yeah, no, that's kind of why I admire Gaia. It is almost like, I would say, the poster child of a rogue deck.
It is a big bungus OTK deck. I am
Or
here
not
to
even
punch
a
you.
rogue deck, but a like
One big spiral strike.
rogue adjacent of like, hey, I have a big dude that has a lot of attack points. Can you out it?
Yeah,
No?
but also,
Well,
so
then
this, like I said,
die.
this on summon fetches your like signature spell card. It benefits from that card. So that means you've got piercing. Because it counts as Gaia the Dragon Champion. If you deal battle damage, you get to draw 2, discard 1, and you can change their battle position. So like, it's decent. I'm gonna assume the reason why it probably died is because Konami invented Link monsters, thereby invalidating this card's one special thing that's uniquely its.
Yeah. Also, it is not like super protected, and Gaia doesn't really have great protection.
No, there's a few attempts, but that's probably something that if they wanted to make this
So
deck a little more
it's
serious, they
Gaia
should.
is like kind
work
of
on.
easy to out.
Yeah.
Like, if you have, like, I've played this in Master Duel and Duel Links, and if your opponent can't out it, they do just die.
Yeah. Honestly, I'm
But-
looking at the new Gaia fusion here. Like you said, Sky Galloping. I don't see any reason why this probably couldn't be printed in like Speed Duels. Like, he just does a name sub effect and lets you search Spiral Spear Strike. I'm pretty sure Spiral Spear Strike is legal in it's in Speed Duel. So like, he's just a generic fusion boy. You could bring him out. But speaking of generic boys, hey, so remember those Link monsters I brought up? Behold,
Yep.
Gaia Saber, the Lightning Shadow.
This art.
He does not have a saber.
I hate this art so much.
I don't hate it, but like, it's very silly. I get what we're going for,
Okay.
right? This is
Omega, I'm gonna say one thing, and then I want
Okay.
you to recheck if you hate it or not.
Okay.
Why does he have Fire Move Awakening feet?
I don't fucking know. It's just he's got.
Why does he have no feet?
I mean,
He's
I don't.
He's a polygonal entity.
I'll say this. I don't know. Actually, no, he's not. He's a machine. So he's not a warrior. I don't know why he's not a Cybers. But him being a
that's the thing,
machine
he's
and
not a
looking like
Cybers
a
character.
weird, off-brand Mega Man X boss, because he does, by the way.
This is like Omega. This is an off-brand Mega Man X. This is Mega Man X at home.
Yeah. Like, I don't know why he's got that design ethos, but on paper, the idea of, okay, we're going to make a Link Gaia. We're going to make a Vrains-era Gaia. He's going to be fucking covered in Tron lines and be like a weird robot and have a weird robot horse. Honestly, the horse design actually, I think, is fairly okay.
No, the horse is fine.
But
It's
Gaia
the
himself
rider
is
that I
just, he's got like a weird hexagon lance. There's no sword anywhere, by the way. Which, again, that's his name. This is Dene no Kishi Gaia Saba. Literally, Gaia Saber, the Lightning Shadow Knight. Why does he not have a sword made of lightning?
Where's the lightning, the saber, or the shadow?
Yeah, I don't know. It's just, this is just, it's the year 2017. We need a new generic Link 3. We're going to make the most generic sounding guy.
You know?
Also, Zed, you're wrong. This is the midpoint.
Yeah, no, this guy's also awful.
I want to say that I always kind of thought that like it's his Gaia Saber as an it's versus saber as it's the person carrying a bladed weapon. So I assumed it was like his lance is meant to be his saber, as it's like a one-handed thing instead of him couching it.
Yeah, but it's not a saber though. It's a weirdly boxy lance.
I know, but like
listen. Yeah, but trust me, I've seen enough sabers in FGO to understand. I'm pretty sure they know what a sword or sword-like object is supposed to be. He should be called Gaia Lancer.
Even fucking Alteria's push pop at least is held like a sword.
I mean,
we're trying, you know?
Even Fergus with his magic Gurren Lagann machine holds it like a sword.
Yeah, and he slashes with it. It's supposed to be a sword. It's just weirdly spiral-shaped, you know? But yeah, so there's a lot going on here that I don't understand why this card is the way it is. It is a Link 3 Earth Machine. It's got 2,600 attack, so obviously it's got, you know, the numbers for the extra deck. It just any 2+ monsters, so it's a, you know, completely generic. I don't know why it's an Earth Link, why it is not dark or light. That would probably make it better. But as a non-effect, completely generic Link, I mean, this card was literally in the first Link set in Code of the Duelist. It was reprinted in Duel Devastator.
There's only one problem with this card.
Yeah?
Is that it's a Link 3, and the need for a generic Link 3 is, even during Master Duel 4, was not really there.
Oh, no, yeah, I mean, like, honestly, I think this card loses out to something like even Decode Talker, because that has better arrows, for instance, because Gaia has kind of T arrows.
If this was a Link 2 and, say, have, like, 2,100 attack, this would have been a great card.
Yeah, I think I understand what Konami was getting at, was, like, they realized they were really shaking up the game with Link, so they were like, okay, obviously we have a pretty good Link 3 in the form of Decode Talker, who's, like, technically generic, but let's print an even more generic, we'll do a Gaia, you know, we'll do a Link Gaia. We've done that before. The problem is that they made him completely non-effect, unlike Thunder Charger, which has a good effect, right? Like, I think that they went too basic with this, and honestly, everybody forgets about this guy. He only sees play in, like, weird limited format cases where it's just like, well, I need a big bungus to end on. I guess I'll pick Gaia Saber.
He saw play in our fucking
in Prague.
What the fuck series?
In
Prague,
in Prague, because he was a generic Link 3, and some of us got him as their secret rare.
Hey, that was me.
Yeah, so he's just a weird guy. So Gaia support basically goes hibernates until 2020. Completely skips the Link era. And then it explodes onto the scene in a signature set, Rise of the Duelist, and you get all the weird shit, chat, because alphabetically, we're going to start with Artillery, Catapult, Turtle!
I love
this is a card.
shit.
Oh yeah, one thing. When did the Buster Blader Destruction Swordsman Chronicle happen?
I'll double check. I think that was like 19?
2016, I would say.
I think it was like 2
No, it
years
was
before
earlier
this.
than that.
Yeah.
No, it was earlier than that, Omega.
Yeah, let me check. Let me grab the Buster Blader.
It just,
Yeah,
you might have
I just think
forgotten
because
it
it's like I actually like the Destruction Swordsman story, like the Chronicle of the Destruction Swordsman, but that's what I was saying.
Okay. Buster Blader, Destruction Swordsman, the boy.
'Cause it was
26. You're right.
released about the same
2016. Yeah.
time.
Breakers of Shadow.
Yeah. Oh.
So
I remember that.
Buster
I remember
Blader
that
got
because
his
it was-
retrain about the same time that they added those extra. Their last batch of extra Gaia support. You know, Sky Galloping, Curse of Dragonfire, the 2 Chaos Gaias, and shit like that.
And I will forever argue, and people get into arguments with me all the time. I think Buster Blader is the second most successful nostalgia support. And if you want to be very technical about staying power, I think it's better than the Blue Eyes nostalgia support. Because yes, that won a national, but it was literally a flash in the pan.
Yeah,
I will also say, I
lasted for
think,
like 10
because
seconds.
I honestly think the Buster Blader fusion card, you could always make use of it in some cases.
well,
Buster Blader
and
as a
like,
deck was like tier 3 for like 2
please
years.
please remember that the was it Sword Whelp? One of the whelps got banned because it was used in ancillary combos. You know.
Yeah,
Because
no.
because
Like
that's what he
so,
means.
like I think it's fair to say that yes, the game design of the Buster Blader support. The problem is that the Buster Blader support is successful because it has the problem that a lot of nostalgia support is, which it makes Buster Blader into a floodgate. It makes him into skill drain.
I just liked it.
God,
I just liked it when you can make your enemies dragons and you just like
No,
kill them
let's
for all their
be
life
fair,
points. for
Omega.
comboing.
It wasn't skill drain in Buster Blader's case. It was the Monarch Field spell. He ED locked you. He didn't skill drain you. He ED locked you. So,
I think no, the Synchro Dragon is the one. Something negates all dragon monsters' effects that your opponent activates.
That is your big endgame board. That is the big Buster Blader Master Destruction Swordsman.
Okay, yeah, no, they're yeah,
true,
they
but
Because
the-
he's basically
the main,
anti-dragon, and then you have Gaia
main-
Buster Dragon, which trades everything to
The main
dragons.
Buster lock.
the
is,
lock is
extra
Whelp ED locks you, but yes, like the problem is that it's not just one floodgate; they're just made of floodgates. Is
They are floodgates.
the issue? Whereas, like we said, Gaia has stayed true to its roots.
Gaia
He is just
is
a
the
big bunk.
Out of
um,
all of the DM cards, he is the last true Unga Bunga.
Yeah. And honestly, I think you are correct about Blue Eyes. Like, obviously, Master Duel, Blue Eyes, and Dark Magician cards, super heavily represented. Mechanically, I think Dark Magician as a deck has been unable to actually, like, do super great, other than in, like, Legacy
I think
Festivals,
I
because
think
they
it's
refuse to
pretty
print Dark
good.
Dragoon.
I think it's pretty good now, but that's literally like
yeah.
2023 support.
What
Yeah,
even is your
literally
end board,
support from, like,
actually?
last year. What, in Dark Magician?
Yeah, Master of Chaos, the Dark Magicians.
Oh, true. Okay, actually good cards.
Honestly,
they're
all
a
you really
lot.
need is just Magician's Navigation, EDS, and Dark Magical Circle, and then your end board is just, I summon some Dark Magicians and banish all your cards. You're dead.
And I actually like that because it's a control deck without being a floodgate deck.
Yeah, honestly,
you just
that's
don't play Eternal
valid.
Soul.
that's how, like, it's funny, but it basically what we're describing, like the way you're describing Dark Magician, a control deck without being about floodgates. That's how I play Labyrinth. I know not everybody does, but like, I play Lab as just like, okay, buddy, if you're not careful about what cards you activate, I'm gonna start popping stuff and summoning guys. One of whom can't be
That's
targeted.
How I like playing control. Spoiler: this is why I'm a black-blue control player, not a blue-white control player.
So, a question for you, Omega. Would viruses be count less not as floodgates, more as terrorism? Deck terrorism?
I mean,
Yeah.
I feel like that's what I've been subjected to when I've been virus. The only reason why I played Eradicator is because somebody told me that I was reminded Eradicator is fucking punishing in the lab mirror. A pox upon that person's house because they tweeted it, so everybody figured it out.
I was thinking
Oh.
MPT made a video about it.
Omega, I was running Epidemic Eradicator virus in lab day 1, but that's because I already had 3 of them crafted.
Well,
I
yeah,
put them
I
in
know.
everything.
That's I think I
'Cause I'm a
crafted two
monster.
right away because I was like, oh shit, this is good. And like I said, in my ladder deck, I still have 1 because it's like, oh, well, Konami didn't put it to 0, so why the fuck wouldn't I play it? I'm trying to win here.
All right, guys, Loff is complaining about it. We must move on.
It's right, yes.
No, fuck you, Loth. If you're not gonna
fuck
be
you.
here, you don't get to complain.
He's
He
he's
literally
at
can't
an
be here.
appointment.
He literally had to go to a hospital. He
He's
literally
on
had to go
his
to a medical
phone.
appointment.
He's having like a I don't know if it's medical. I think it's a
it was his
state
welfare.
related
It's
interview.
for an insurance thing, but yeah, it's just he has to.
Whatever. He's
Anyway.
he's at a physical appointment. He can't be here. Surely Catapult Turtle. Now, chat, you may be wondering, some of you may be wondering, why is Catapult Turtle Retrain Gaia support? You may recall, once upon a time, that
you launched
Yugi
the
very
dark-
infamously
moon.
loaded his Dragon Champion into the Catapult Turtle to shoot the flotation ring.
Get-
That was a
the
thing
single
that
dumbest
happened?
moment in the Yu-Gi-Oh anime.
And that is why. Literally, that's
It
it
is-
why.
Gaia,
Not
destroy
remember-
the
not remember
flotation
when,
ring
like-
to destroy all his monsters.
So back like in the Duel Monsters, when you can remember when you could like counterattack on your opponent's turn.
There's a
and,
lot
like,
of weird shit you could do
You
in-
could shoot
in-
the environment, like basically.
Dude,
Like
also,
you're saying,
to be
like you're
fair, a
saying
lot of
tabletop
people are
game,
like, "Oh,
cards
the
in
Duel
it.
Monsters rules don't make any sense." Yeah, that's because Pegasus never explained them to fucking anybody. It's a literal battle royale, you know? Like, it's funny nobody thinks of it that way. I'm also very surprised Konami, when they were in their most money grubby cash grab phase, did not invent a Yu-Gi-Oh battle royale.
I would actually play that.
Yeah, no, I think that would be funny. Drop
I would
99
like the
Yugi
cool-
players on Duelist Kingdom Island. Assign them like random draft decks. You know.
And also like special like area rules and like
Well, yeah,
interactive
you'd-
stuff.
you'd-
Tell that
probably
idea
have, like,
Hasbro.
Fields. You'd probably have like field spells, you know, activated on in certain zones and shit like that, and
Commander
then just
100 free for all.
and just like tough it out, and you know, put a little Battle City in there, you know, where like if you defeat an opponent, they like drop
Get a card from them.
their like a card or two, yeah, so you can improve your deck,
Oh,
shit
that'd
like that.
actually be.
So you always
Why
like so I guess you,
hasn't anyone done
I
that?
guess you take cards out. You take cards on their side deck, or people have spares. I guess.
Because I'm gonna be real, as fun as fucking card simulators are, the funnest shit I've had in the Magic one are the cards that are Magic the Arena exclusive, where they just literally draft you cards from outside the set.
Oh, like Duel Links.
Yeah. No, I think Duel Links is a better game than Master Duel.
Well, I'm not sure people would fight you. Like I said, Konami is literally getting like shareholder questions about Master Duel.
Like I know this is a fat thing, but honestly, I feel like they could honestly try to remake Duelist King by making like a weird tabletop rule system where you play Yu-Gi-Oh inside the tabletop system.
Yeah, but you don't need to do that.
Yeah.
Also, technically, there was literally a tabletop RPG arc in old school Yu-Gi-Oh. But anyway, Artillery Catapult Turtle is a water aqua. That's right, Catapult Turtle is an aqua, despite the fact that this is very clearly a robot turtle.
No.
I mean, it could be machine. It could be aqua
Let me
machine.
rephrase this. This Catapult Turtle is an aqua, because there is one that is a machine.
It's true. There's a couple out there, but it's level 4 because we understood that the original one being level 5 was silly. He's 1,000 attack, 2k defense. You contribute 1 monster, special summon 1 Gaia the Fierce Knight monster, or 1 level 5 dragon monster from your hand or deck. You can only use each effect of Artillery Catapult Turtle once per turn. There you go, kids. You have a starter. Obviously, several Gaia cards are special summonable on their own, but Artillery Catapult Turtle is a normal. He can sack himself and summon you a Gaia monster. Or,
So the other
if you don't need
important
to,
part is,
get a dragon.
The Gaia part is not that cool, but he summons a
dragons.
Curse of Dragon monster, which is real important.
yes.
You know, the weirdest
Up
thing
to
for me
including
is like
getting
it's a
Curse of Dragon Fire.
non-searchable starter you run 0 or 3 of.
Yeah, basically. Like, it's a... I mean, I think there might be some Gaia support that mention cards which mention Gaia the Fierce Knight, but yeah, like, it's a funny little combo that I appreciate that they put in there. Speaking of level 5 dragons, it's time for the single greatest named card in all of Yu-Gi-Oh!
I will hold
It's
you to
up
that.
there. It's up there.
Behold, Curse of Dragon, comma, the Cursed Dragon.
Yes.
Okay, so Omega, that is a name of all time. A name of all time.
Yeah, it is. In the OCG, this is Norowa Shiryu, Curse of Dragon. Literally, Curse of Dragon, Cursed Dragon. It's so
Because-
I love it.
Is it right? Yeah, because it's
because it's in Japanese and in English.
I kind of wish I wish in English they did that too, where it said like they said that they just said it in fucking like katakana. The other
Yeah,
half.
I kind of
Look,
wish they had,
card
but
ga-
still.
Card games should be goofy. I attest to this. I'm currently building a Zangief deck.
Nice.
Secret
I get to throw
Lair.
berry people.
Nice.
Nice.
Yeah, you contribute tokens if you summon them. It's any whatchamacallit, any monster can be tributed. It's also, by the way, not in any way a once per turn, by the way, on Catapult Turtle. Just at any time, you contribute a monster to special summon a Gaia or level 5 dragon.
Omega, you might remember this from like an OSP thing. Take a drink. Of how she talked about how Pegasus spoke in between English and Japanese. I really imaged this Pegasus saying the name. He says it in Japanese, then he says it in English.
That would actually work out, yeah. Art-wise, it's Curse of Dragon with a glow-up. He's got the fucking red meme filter eyes, very clearly leaning on the metallic look again. He's very clearly golden in this, which is,
Omega.
honestly,
This is
that's all right.
very-
Pretty pimpin'.
Omega,
This is
I think
Oh, God.
there's 2 things to this. One, Curse Dragon's been summoned as a primal, or Gaia is actually a dominant.
I could see that.
I think Guy is more of a submissive.
You know, okay, fuck off. Go back
No,
on the rock.
no, you go die.
No,
You
you go
die.
to the rock, Dallas.
all right, you guys, calm down. I am hoping to eventually be able to join some more of the 14 squad and blew up a little. I do like, by the way, this
I'll
background.
give you some levels, yeah.
I do like his background, by the way. The lightning bolts and the shooting light, like, yeah, this is cool. Dallas, I think you were going to say something about the Cursed Dragon earlier as well.
Yeah. It's very in line with a lot of the Yu-Gi-Oh! Retrain art of the stuff.
This guy's kind of off-center.
But it is... it's just... I don't like the style. It's very in line with the rest of the retrains they do of, like, cards around this time, but I just... Like, if you look at, like, Egyptian God Slime, stuff like that...
Yeah.
I don't like it, but it's very in line with that style.
Interesting.
I like the scale of it.
I think I understand. Yeah, this I'm pretty sure was probably a... Actually, I can double check. Was this like a... Oh, no, actually, okay. So this was... I think this was technically was a TCG promo first, because this was released as a foil in... Actually, no, it would have already come out in the OCG. So they released it early as a foil special in Legendary Duelist Season 1 as like a little touch there. But it was a common in Rise of the Duelist, which was the Gaia-themed set. Okay. So this is a level 5 Dark Dragon, 2000 attack, 1500 defense, Curse of Dragon stats. If this card is normal or special summoned, add 1 spell trap from your deck to your hand that specifically lists the card Gaia the Dragon Champion in its card text. If this card is sent to the graveyard, target 1 Gaia the Dragon Champion in your monster zone. Negate the effects of face-up monsters your opponent currently controls with attack less than or equal to it until the end of this turn. You can use each effect of Curse of Dragon, the Cursed Dragon, once per turn. So yeah, this juices up your Dragon Gaia cards, obviously because it lets you add a card that specifically lists it, such as Spiral Strike or other such things.
It's not quite as good, I think, as Curse of Dragon Fire.
No, but running one of them just to have the material, especially if you need it, because it's negate effect. It's turning your guys into shit. I had a generic term for this, but you know what I mean. Like it negates all your opponent's face-up monsters.
Vanillas?
No. There's like I'm thinking of like an extra deck card. I mean, it's basically a Dark Ruler, right? Like it negates all your face-up guys.
That's a good point.
So that's very helpful, especially if you're doing the kind of attack modulation things that your Gaia is very large when you proc this effect. So that's handy to have a couple, but yeah, Curse of Dragonfire is probably spicier because it itself is fusion. But yeah, a Cursed Dragon is a decent add. We're going to keep going down the line because it's time for young Gaia. Possibly at his most Captain Falcon-looking motherfucker stage. This is Gaia the Fierce Knight Origin. A.k.a. Gaia Origin, the Dark Knight.
He actually looks cooler. His armor actually looks better in my mind.
What the hell anime am I thinking of that this guy looks like the main character of?
I'm not sure.
It's like an old 90s show that's like insanely violent and bloody, but...
Makes sense.
He just...
But yeah,
like
this is...
Guyver.
Okay.
Oh, okay, yeah.
I can see that.
Whenever it's like he's got the prequel syndrome where his armor's actually fancier and probably higher tech than what it ever was.
Yeah, I mean, I think the
still
idea is
armor.
that
I
he's
don't know if
wearing
it's
wearing
higher
more
tech.
armor and wearing more, especially wearing more body glove as well. This I think I like the general vibes here. This gives me the idea of like this is a proper redraw of Gaia. Like, okay, we took Gaia's design elements and we modernized them to our aesthetic. I'm not quite
Honestly,
sure why his horse is backlit red, but I like it.
I mean, red horses are always superior.
Yeah.
This is just a fact.
You know,
I love his horse in this.
yeah, the horse is pretty baller looking. He himself, this is a pretty good design update. You know, he's got you can see his little face in there. His lance is looking at least stylized.
It's not my favorite.
he only has
of
one
the
lance?
Gaias. That would probably still be... Honestly, I'm still partial to Swift Gaia, the original Synchro.
Honestly,
But this is
Kelly
pretty
in the
good.
chat made me think of a thing of
Medieval
this is
UA.
like if they made a UA, I made a jousting UA.
That'd be funny. Red hair is the king among horses. Yeah. So this is
Yes.
Origin Gaia, and basically they were like, oh shit, we need more Gaia normal summons. What do we do? This guy, he's a level 4 Earth Warrior, 1600 attack, 1200 defense. It's Baby Gaia. This card is treated as 2 tributes for the tribute summon of a warrior monster. This almost never comes up, but is still nice to have.
Gaia
You can use
Babu.
each of the following effects of Gaia the Fierce Knight Origin once per turn. 1. Send 1 level 5 or higher monster from your hand to the graveyard. Special summon this card from your hand. So that actually matters because that means that you can free special and then tribute summon. During the battle phase, you can banish this card from your graveyard. Target 1 monster on the field whose current attack is different from its original attack. Its attack becomes its original attack. This has 2 synergies which are both thematically appropriate to Gaia. On the one hand, remember that when Gaia the Dragon Champion was summoned, it was originally against Ultimate Moth. And there was a lot of weird attack manipulation in that episode. But also, it helps not only if your Gaias have their attack decreased, but also if your opponent has a big monster who is somehow larger than your Gaia, you can be like, no, go back to your original attack. Fuck you. So yeah, this is just a good card in Gaia. He's just a good guy. You can special him by pitching a high-level monster so you can de-brick yourself. And it's level 5 or higher, so it
Very
includes
good
your
Gaia.
dragon. It includes your dragons. That means that you can normal summon your level 7 guys if you need to. And it has a graveyard effect that is good. So yeah, solid guy. Also, he's a Gaia the Fierce Knight monster, because of how his name is worded.
I think the only problem with him is just there are better Gaias.
Yeah,
But
possibly.
He's not bad. He's just like awkward.
Yeah. Honestly, I think if they did try to bridge the gap between the synchro Gaias who really don't fit into a regular Gaia deck with maybe a level 2 tuner or something, make just Gaia's horse a level 2 warrior tuner or something. I guess it'd be a beast, but you know what I mean.
Yeah, because Gaia Synchro is the only one that doesn't fit.
Yeah, because they don't have any
You
in
can
archetype
make
tuners.
these with 2 Curse of Dragons.
Yeah. But you could, probably do a run around there. But also, we have another one. This is Gaia the Magical Knight. Madokishi Gaia.
Okay,
So, some design notes. Like the cape, the horse is red. That's cool. I'm not sure what direction we're going. Is the horse supposed to be galloping? But then, why is Gaia vertical?
I think the horse exploded. No, I think the horse exploded. Unironically, I think the horse exploded.
I mean, there's an explosion behind him, that's true, but the perspective / proportions on this is really weird. Gaia looks like he's standing straight up, okay? But the horse has its neck bent this way, and almost all of its legs are off the ground. So
I think Gaia is perpendicular, is parallel to the horse.
yeah, it's really weird. Also, honestly, while it's not the worst
Lances
design,
suck.
the lances are really over-designed. They now have tiny cross swords on the lances, and I'm just like, okay, all right, this is a little weird. The helmet's okay. I like the big cape, like I said, but there's a lot of weirdness going on. And again, this horse's neck / spine is doing a U-turn. Horses don't do that. It's really weird. I get what they're going for, but it's really weird.
Oh, so this is the Fire Emblem promote.
No, this is yeah, but this is the Fire Emblem promote that no one ever takes.
Yeah, this is the one where he gets
Rider
access
Awakening.
to books. But you're like,
This
what?
is the Griffin Rider. Well, no, because Omega, those are usually good. This is Griffin Rider and Awakening. Where it's yeah, you have access to it, but why?
I really think this is more of he became a boss exclusive class.
No, wait, this is Great Knight. Yeah, that's why no one would ever pick it.
It's
Great
Cathedral Knight.
So, Gaia the
Good.
Magical Knight is a light warrior level 7, has the Gaia stats 23-21. It has the parenthetical. This card is always treated as a Gaia the Fierce Knight card. So he always counts. If you control no monsters and your opponent, if you control no monsters or your opponent controls a monster with 2300 or more attack, you can normal summon this card without tributing. If this card is normal or special summon 1 level 5 dragon monster from your hand or graveyard in defense position. You can use this effect of Magical Knight Gaia once per turn. So yeah, Gaia has more Sidra effects. He's a light now, which helps out some decks. He fetches dragons. Very solid.
Yeah, this is the better guy, in my opinion, than Young Gaia. Just because it allows you to make use of, like, Foolishing.
Mm-hmm. I mean, and honestly, I think they go together. Like, obviously, you can normal summon Gaia without tributing anyway if you do this correctly, but you could pitch a dragon from your graveyard, summon magical Gaia, and then tribute summon him. I don't know why you would, but it works. But yeah, it's mostly just a card layup. This one's just pretty good because he is a Sidra.
This is your starter.
Yeah. He gets a dragon, which lets you do stuff, because you can search spells if you do, Cursed Dragon.
Yeah. And he's especially good at making the second Gaia fusion.
Yeah.
I wouldn't know, so yeah.
But continuing our, our weird Gaia overlap. So now it's time for what if Gaia was just Chaos Soldier or Blackluster Soldier? This is Soldier Gaia, the Fierce Knight, aka Akokishi Gaia Soldier.
So,
I almost want to say
again,
Soldier Boy. Gaia Soldier, the Fierce Knight.
Honestly, this is still reminds me of this is just the other path of the Fire Emblem remote.
Yeah.
It still looks good. This is.
I mean,
I don't
this
know.
is
I just don't- it looks
literally
gross.
you can see it in the helmet. This is indeed Gaia just decided to turn himself into Blackluster Soldier. He is literally wearing a Blackluster Soldier as a hat.
He fucking class carded Gaia Soldier or fucking BLS.
Yeah, he can't pull it off though.
Well, that's because
no.
Dallas, he's still wearing his normal outfit under the Blackluster Soldier bits, which is really weird because he's now blue and purple and red and gold. Also,
I get what they're going for, but no.
Where the fuck did this trident come from? I don't think that is because Chaos Soldier has a sword and Gaia has a lance that is spiral. Now he has a really
it's now
misproportioned trident.
It's like a trident, but it has a spiral design to the handle.
Yeah, that part's okay.
The handle's fine.
But it's just why? What is happening here?
I don't. Even then, it's in some cases I feel like it looks better in motion, but oh my god, ugh. It's just I look at this, it's I don't get it.
No,
ugh.
I mean it's
No, this is
my problem is I get
This
it,
is
but
an
I'm that's not cool though.
I get it, but I don't understand how they thought it was okay.
This is an MMO armor set in the worst way. I mean that.
Yeah.
Fair enough. I mean, that's what I was thinking. I was like, this is Gaia tried to put on a Dragoon glam and it didn't go well. He's trying really hard to be cool, but it's not working. But yeah, so that said, this does have some features.
Wait, one more dig.
Oh, go for it.
This guy's screen name is Sephiroth XXX Sephiroth 666.
Something like that. So this is a Dark Warrior level 8, 26/21. So he's a main deck monster with, fusion deck or extra deck Gaia stats. Quick effect. Tribute 1 Dragon Fusion monster. Special summon this card from your hand. If this card is special summoned, target 1 attack position monster on the field, change it to defense position. You can tribute this card, add 1 level 7 or higher warrior monster from your deck to your hand, except Soldier Gaia, blah, blah, blah. You can use each effect once per turn. So, hey, guess what? This guy sucks. Why would you tribute away your Dragon Fusions, which are usually your normal end board and are probably much bigger than this guy because of the way the deck works, to summon a level 8 guy who can then tribute himself to search a high-level warrior guy? I don't know. There are some edge cases, I guess, where, if your opponent, negates and zeroes out your Gaia, it is a quick effect. So that can, work. But, again, this card was printed in 2020. Hey, you know what can't go to defense mode? Link monsters. You still lose to Boral Sword. Or especially you fucking lose to Access Code Talker, but that's most decks. No, it is technically any Dragon Fusion, so if you want to play a weird, instant or ready fusion wombo combo, sure, but extra deck space is usually tight. This just isn't worth it. If you want to summon a big bungus, level 8 guy, just run the Gaia variants that flow into Blackluster Soldier.
This is
that would at least make a big impact.
This is
goodness.
fixing a problem for Gaia that it doesn't have.
Yes. They tried to like come up with a cool edge case to like I said, wombo combo Blackluster Soldier and Gaia together, and it's just not
You know
necessary.
what this honestly feels like? This feels like a Yu-Gi-Oh anime card that wasn't actually an anime card.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
This has all of the hallmarks of, hey, this dude summoned this card in this one episode and it was really cool.
Yeah.
Without that actually happening.
And Spiral Fusion looks alright.
Yeah. So I mean, it's a very recent card, so it makes sense. But yeah,
all
they
the
have an
fusion
archetypal
cards also
fusion.
look never. Has there been any like fusion or action cards of the polymerization art that looks bad?
Probably because there's a lot,
I
but not
mean,
many that jump to mind.
Not that I can think of, but can't also think of any that look like good.
Fair.
Yeah, this is just, I mean, this just demonstrates what it is. This is polymerization, but it's redrawn with Gaia and Curse of Dragon. And I'm like, that's okay.
Yeah.
That works. And they put, like, the green spiral strike on it. So this is their...
the super poly art, I guess?
Yes. This is their archetypal fusion. This was printed in Rise of the Duelist, by the way, as a common. That, at least I appreciate, is that while a couple of the higher-end cards are, like, foils, though by this point they had switched to a foil in every pack, like... Most of the Gaia support is just commons, you know? Like, we stopped trying to nickel and dime you for some of the nostalgia support, at least for off-brand archetypes. But yeah, so Spiral Fusion says, Fusion summon 1 Dragon Fusion monster from your extra deck using monsters from your hand or field as material. If you special summon Gaia the Dragon Champion by this effect, it gains 2600 attack. Also, it can make up to 2 attacks on monsters during each battle phase. Keep in mind that works for cards that also are treated as Gaia the Dragon Champion, because they are treated as being that when they become special summoned. So they basically get double attack, and physically their attacks are doubled, and they can attack twice on monsters, which you want anyway because you want to do piercing. So yeah, no, it's not as good as like a Shadow type fusion. You know, you can't send from deck. But also, to be honest, Gaia probably doesn't care because you can search the shit out of your Gaias and your dragons. So
you have a really good way to search Gaia.
Yeah.
Very easily.
Also, hey, guess what? This card mentions Gaia the Dragon Champion, which means you're probably searching it because it's called Spiral Fusion. Otherwise, you're probably searching it off Curse of Dragon, the Cursed Dragon. So you probably already have your materials on board.
Like I said, that card is very good for a reason.
Yes. No. So yeah, this does unfortunately lock a lot of Gaia fusions into being Dragon type and playing to the Dragon champion name, but that's okay. And then we have, obviously, that means we need a new fusion. So this is our latest and greatest Gaia the Magical Knight of Dragons, Ryu Madokishi Gaia. Literally, Gaia the Magical Dragon Knight. This art's okay. It's just you know, the
Taking out the horse-drawn dragon.
Yeah. We drew Magical Knight Gaia on top of Curse of Dragon.
I have a very big problem with this art.
Oh yeah.
He has WoW shoulder syndrome.
His shoulders are a little big. Yeah. Like I said, it's just okay.
What do you mean a little big? They're giant wing-sized.
I mean, that's because
they're
it's
not.
the cape.
It's cape, Dallas. His shoulders stop here. The rest is just his fucking cape.
Okay, that makes more
Yeah.
sense.
No,
I retract
because it's the magical guy.
my-
Like I said, he's just okay. It's a modern
He's
draw.
fine. I retract my previous
in the air.
complaints.
Yes, Loth, we talked about Sky Galloping because he was like, at the point this card came out, 4 years old. But yeah, this was in Rise of the Duelist. This was the cover card. He was a Starlight rare. He got reprinted as a Prismatic Secret rare in one of the tins. So we
This card might be about $1, maybe.
according to the Wikipedia, your low price is 10 cents. Your medium price, 49 cents.
Ah, he's a bulk rare. Got it.
Yeah. I mean, that's probably because I'm pretty sure, let me double check, but I'm pretty sure Rise of the Duelist had a lot more better chase cards. Yeah, that was, I was pretty sure. That was the Dogmatica package, yeah. And all the Infernoble Knights. And
Yeah.
also the Melfies.
So a lot of playable
Well, to be
cards
fair,
that
the
he wasn't
Infernoble
one of.
Knights weren't good at the time, because I think this was right after Smoke Grenade got banned.
No, this was
playable.
Astolfo, Ogier, Olivier, Magus. I think this was their second wave of support, so I don't think Smoke Grenade was banned.
So no
yet.
one knew this was good.
Yeah, this was like right as they were. Oh, another secret / Starlight rare in this pack. Triple Tactics talent.
Oh yeah, no, that's
So yeah, no. This was a
It is definitely the
Rise
bulk
of the
rare.
Duelist was a really fucking good set of Yu-Gi-Oh. Unfortunately, the Gaia cards were kind of like the bulk because they're good.
I call that fortunate.
Especially for a nostalgia archetype. Yeah, no, like this was a good deck where if you want to play Gaia cards, you can definitely play them.
At least it's better than Blue Eyes, where a bunch of cards are $15 for no goddamn reason.
Yeah. So, Magical Knight of Dragons is a wind level 7 dragon, 2621, the normal stats. It has the exact same fusion requirements as Sky Galloping Gaia, which is 1 Gaia Fierce Knight monster plus 1 level 5 dragon monster. Becomes Gaia the Dragon Champion on the field, so it counts for Spiral Fusion. You can use each of the following effects once per turn. During the main phase, quick effect, target one other card on the field. This card loses exactly 2600 attack. If it does, destroy that card. When this card destroys an opponent's monster by battle, you can make it gain 2600 attack. So it has an interesting process of one huge OTK potential, right? Because Spiral Fusion lets you double attack and doubles your attack. It gets you gain 2600. But also, if you don't need that, or if the monster is still too big for you to run over somehow, or if it's immune to battle, you can sack your attack to blow them up. Oh, hey, also, by the way, remember that banish effect of Origin Gaia? That would mean that your Gaia, the Magical Knight of Dragons, doesn't have its original attack anymore. You can fix that. So yeah, this is just a good one for OTK tools. It has some removal tools. The problem you're noticing is that, as Dallas brought up way earlier, but it's still true, they don't have any protection.
No protection. They die very hard to any interaction.
Yeah, so the best you can do is that negate on summon effect.
But at least, unlike some archetypes that are nostalgia, they have a definite game plan /
Yes.
win con.
You build this deck to blind
You
go
make
second.
the bungus, you smash the bungus.
Yes. Yeah, you blind go second, and you want to fucking destroy your opponent in the battle phase by making a fucking huge
A lot
guy.
of evenly matched and lightning storms.
Yeah. But all right, and then they do have a field spell. It came out a little bit. No, it was also in Rise of the Duelist. Okay, it was a common. So here, let me pull up the card art for a Galloping
They have
Gaia.
a second field spell. This is Gaia's second field spell.
Yeah, I guess technically Gateway to Chaos has a Gaia mention in it.
I mean, it lets you tutor a Gaia.
True.
Banner went down for 10 seconds. Okay.
I'm talking about the field spell, Galloping Gaia, which is specifically it is a Gaia field spell. First of all,
All right, I'm back.
this is the closest they come to protection. It makes all of your opponent's monster, all of your Gaia monsters, basically Armades. Its first effect is your opponent can't activate cards or effects during the battle phase while you have a Gaia the Dragon Champion in your monster zones. So if
I'm
you
gonna be real. I run Gateway to Chaos over this because battle interaction is very uncommon.
Yeah, but I think it is decently important, and that's why I said it's the best they get from there. But basically, it has you can activate one of the following effects once per turn. Basically, you reveal a Gaia the Fierce Knight, add a level 5 dragon. You reveal a level 5 dragon, add a Gaia the Fierce Knight. So it also lets you search either.
I mean, I still run it, but I don't know.
Yeah.
Chaos. I guess maybe I just have worse luck than other people because I rarely open either of the pieces I need.
It probably means you should play more pieces. Get better
But
ratios.
so many though.
But yeah, so this is their field spell, and like I said, this is the closest they come to protection, which is just you Armades your opponent. Which is cool, but doesn't help when, whatchamacallit, you still have that issue of, when you go to declare you're switching to your battle phase, your opponent can just be like, wait, before the main phase ends.
Yeah, the whole
Or
issue.
just
the whole
Or
issue of the
usually just when you finish summoning your guy, they go, all right, boom bop.
Yeah, honestly, the whole issue, like the whole struggle for this is like honestly, it's mostly because it's all about that charge, like the charge to hitting the opponent.
Yeah, but there's a lot of obvious setup there.
The solution is ban all hand traps and interaction and anything that counters. Return to monkey.
Well then,
I
honestly,
mean,
man, you just give
technically,
you
Dallas,
do the-
hand
you
traps
do
don't do
the,
anything about this. I don't
what
think
you actually
other
want
than I
is-
guess effect veiloring, which you can get around with some other cards. There's no interaction with Gaia cards and hand traps unless
Actually,
you summoned
you probably
five
want,
guys.
You probably want the invocation protection, where you have the on-summon protection.
Something like
Yeah,
that,
that's
yeah.
more
But no,
in.
that's what I mean. Like the things that stop Gaia is either on the board negates of your spells or monsters, or just like a once per turn pop. And that can be as simple as like, well, I was going first, so I set compulse. We put Gaia back.
Look, I just think the Yu-Gi-Oh format as a whole needs to just take a step back.
I think a decent number of people might agree about some of that. All right, hey, here's a weird card that came out very recently. Behold, Curse of Dragon, the magical night dragon. Mado Kiryu, Curse of
what?
Dragon.
They
What?
fused.
Now Curse of Dragon is the magic knight.
This dragon sure is cursed.
He absorbed Gaia.
He has put
Or
on
no.
Gaia's hat.
Or no, Gaia became the cursed dragon.
Yeah, kinda, something like that. I'm okay with this card art. Some of the lines are a little wrong, but just the sheer
I mean, it's goofy.
It feels like a callback
goofy,
to the Xyz.
funny.
the sheer balls out factor of we put Curse of Dragon in Gaia's armor. And also the background's pretty cool with like the lightning effect and then the spiral around it. Like I'm like, this is nice.
Yeah.
This is funny. This card's
It's
very
very
recent, by the
goofy.
way.
I
It's from
approve.
2022, so like it's from last year.
It's goofy, but like in an epic way of like a cool action figure is.
Yeah, something you can express joy
I
about.
wouldn't go that far. I mean, yeah, I'll go that far, but
Dallas doesn't want
this is
a Curse of Dragon Gunpla kit confirmed.
you can knock the Curse of Dragon off that sentence, and you'll still have the right answer.
That's okay. Chat knows what's up.
My hands are too big for Gunpla.
Fair enough.
They get big.
Fair
gun
enough,
for it.
Sasquatch. I don't know if they may. Well, I mean, I guess actually that's probably technically true. There are some
That's
kits
just
that are possibly large
Legos.
enough. What's the is there a 2-scale model of like Big Zam,
I was they could do that. Yeah.
like a proportional model?
I would probably have to pay the $50 fine for owning nuclear weapons within the borders of California.
So
Yes, that'd be actual crime.
this is by the way Curse of Dragon as a fusion monster. This is a Dark Dragon fusion level 5, 2000 attack, 1500 defense. It would be an instant fusion target if instant fusion weren't fucking banned everywhere. Unfortunately, it is not a non-effect monster, so you can't ready fusion it.
I was about to say, what do you mean, unfortunately?
No, I know, I'm
Fusion
joking.
should die in a fire.
No, I'm joking, but like, unfortunately, I feel like the idea this card may have been written for is to interact with shit like instant fusion, and unfortunately, it does not. Not that it matters, because it's still really easy to summon. Its materials are any warrior monster, any level 5 or higher dragon monster. We have truly become the generic fusion.
Honestly, unironically, this is a decent super poly target.
Yeah. So, hey, if you fusion summon a level 7 dragon fusion monster, you can also banish monsters from your graveyard as material. So, while this card's on the field, it lets you turn your spiral fusion into miracle fusion. If this card is fusion summoned, target a spell trap in your graveyard that mentions Gaia the Dragon Champion, add it back to your hand. You can use this effective magical knight Gaia once per turn. So yeah, this just gives you another weird utility card. It lets you get your spell traps back from your graveyard. It lets you set up plays where you have monsters in your grave. I think the idea is this is supposed to be a recovery tool for if, like, you do go through your whole wombo combo and then your opponent is like, die, big Gaia. You can be like, okay, all right, I'll just do it again from the graveyard. I resummon this. I summon this guy. I add Spiral Fusion back. Oh, this guy's on the field. I can fucking banish those monsters I already used in my graveyard, etc. It's cute. I don't really know, like, if that's a... I should say this. I'm not against the idea of Gaia having recovery tools. I feel like this one is, for a card that came out in 2022, a little too slow. If it was a contact fusion, maybe it would be fast enough. But yeah, it's cute. I don't see any reason why you shouldn't run at least one, because he still counts as fusion material for all your Gaia fusions. But yeah, it's an oddball one. Speaking of oddball ones.
And I have to say, this just card, like, I know it's not fair to compare to other cards in the set, but when you look at nostalgia support in this set, I think this is the same set as Magician of Chaos.
Yeah, this was Dimension of Chaos. No, this was Dimension of Chaos, not Battle of Chaos.
Oh,
right.
Okay. So not that.
No, Dimension Force. Sorry. Defo was okay. Let's see. You got Therions, Albalinatus, Starving Venom, Predapower. I think that was good. This was when we released Psychic End Punisher, though.
Oh, Jesus. Yeah, no, there's the chase card from that set.
Yeah.
How much is that card going for? I bet it's like
Probably pretty
$60.
This is
Yu-Gi-Oh!
also when we released all the new zombie synchro shit, like Red Eye Zombie Dragon Lord, Skeletal Dragon, Felgrand, Immortal Dragon, etc. Which is all, by the way, very good. But yeah, Dimension Force was not a super high level set, but it had some pretty good stuff in it. Even then, Curse of Dragon is kind of a mid card. It was at the bottom of the list, so this may have been like a weird V-Jump promo in Japan. But like I said before, there's one more weird fusion card. Well, technically there's two, but one more in this context we're talking about. The card we're about to talk about literally just came out, like last month.
Oh, it's $30. That's not too bad.
So, and yes, this technically counts. Also, this card didn't exist when we did the Great Big Dark Magician episode. Behold! Dark Magician, the Knight of Dragon Magic! He's a little big. Let me shrink him down. Dark Magician stole Gaia's ride!
Oh, okay. Alright. When you put the card a little big, it cut off the head of the dragon, so I was like, oh, this is pretty good art. And then the dragon head came in, I was like, oh god.
Then you get to see he's got got his own dumb Dark Magician hat.
Oh no.
With the reverse spiral on it.
You know,
no, this is also very silly to me.
so my thing is, I like the Neo Dark Dragoon outfit, but the rest is bad.
I mean, yeah, Dark Magician doesn't look too bad.
He's like,
I like the staff turned into a lance.
Yeah, it's got the proper length also, which is nice.
he reminds me of Wonder Wand.
But Curse of Dragon is looking a little weird.
No.
With the hat. We need to stop putting Curse of Dragon in hats. It can't not be funny.
Listen, they're trying to give it. Listen, they keep trying to put bardings on it. It's not a good one.
But yeah, so this is a Dark Dragon Fusion, level 8, 2900 attack, 2400 defense. I'm pretty sure, because I'm pretty sure Dark Dragoon is still banned in the OCG. This is why it hasn't been, it has not been put in Master Duel, because, as we know, the OCG is heavily favored in Master Duel. Though again, like I said, they've gotten like shareholder complaints, so we'll see how long that sticks out. They're under pressure from the people they actually like respond to, which is not their customers but their shareholders. So
the people that are holding them by the neck.
So we'll see if they do some stuff. But this does actually have Gaia synergy.
You overestimate how much power shareholders
Neck
have
is not the right way to think of it, but it is like the shareholders are the people that the corporation answers to in the ultimate sense, because they're the ones who are concerned about the profit.
Then is it balls, or it's like you don't need those?
In a company ran by an insane person, you don't always have as much.
But
power as you would.
Knight of Dragon Magic requires Dark Magician and then one level 7 or higher Dragon or Warrior monster. So it works with Gaia or with Dragon Champion Gaia. Either version. Doesn't work with Curse of Dragon, funnily enough. I also think this is kind of like a nod to Dark Cavalry, right? Which was also very clearly meant to be Dark Magician, but regular Gaia.
Yeah, I feel like this is the silly version of Dark Cavalry.
Yeah. I mean, Dark Cavalry is to just... Here, let me grab his card art really quick just to show, because we already talked about it, but just to remind everybody. Find my MS Paint. Here's Dark Cavalry. It's just Dark Magician cosplaying as Gaia. So this is very clearly meant to be the Dragon Champion Gaia version, obviously, and that's okay, but it's a little goofy looking. If this card attacks a defense position monster, inflict piercing battle damage, because, you know, there's no way you're playing Spiral Spear Strike in a DM deck. Once per turn, when this card destroys an opponent's monster by battle, you can inflict damage to your opponent equal to the destroyed monster's original attack, so kind of a Flame Wingman effect. If this card is destroyed, special summon both one Dark Magician and one Gaia the Dragon Champion from your hand, deck, extra deck, or graveyard. So it floats into Dragon Champion, Gaia, and Dark Magician.
So I think that there's two problems with this card.
Yeah.
Well, I'll say this. I'm looking at this mostly from a Dark Magician perspective.
Yeah.
I would never run this in a DM deck.
No, it requires...
Too many extra deck slots.
It would require extra deck slots. Also...
It's not
What
bad.
is your warrior or dragon target in DM normally?
Timaeus.
Yeah, I guess the actual Timaeus dragon.
Timaeus.
Yeah, Amulet dragon.
Yeah.
Not
No,
Amulet dragon,
no, the normal deck one.
Yeah, whatever he is Timaeus the something
Craft.
dragon. Because he is a monster card, yeah.
I don't know why people cut that card, because I see a bunch of DM lists where they're like, I don't want to run Timaeus. It's like, why? He does 8 free things at once.
Like, you mean the main deck card or like the spell? Because I think the
The
Timaeus.
main deck one.
The one that is a monster.
Yeah.
I've never seen him played.
Yeah, that's what Dallas
No,
is complaining
'cause
about.
people are dumb.
Yeah, Timaeus the United Dragon. Gatairu Timaeus. That is a light dragon level
He's
8 with
basically
2800 attack. Let me just read this out for you, chat. You can send one spellcaster monster or one spell trap that mentions Dark Magician from your hand or face-up field to the graveyard. Special summon this card from your hand. Keep in mind, this is a level 8 dragon with 2800 attack. During your main phase, you can fusion summon one fusion monster from your extra deck using monsters from your hand or field material, including a spellcaster monster. You can use each effect once per turn. So, yeah, this lets you, sack a card, bin a card to special summon it, and then it is a fusion. And it is also a fusion
it's
material.
hard to get a spellcaster monster on the field in Dark Magician.
Yeah.
Heck, I usually end up binning, what the fuck's it called? Magician's Rod with this card.
Yeah. And like I said, now that you've reminded me this card exists, I think this makes room for a potential idea, as you can make Knight of magical dragon magic Vad, because he literally summons himself.
Yeah.
The problem is that while it is called a Dark Magician card and requires Dark Magician, Knight of Dragon Magic is very much a Gaia card. It has piercing, it does weird, extra burn destruction effect, it summons Gaia Dragon Champion.
And I think we already have a Piercer, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, I think you have piercing options.
I need to read up a guy.
So,
I think what's his face is piercing.
Like, ultimately, I feel like this is another case much like Dark Dragoon, where this almost makes it better for you to run, like, a Dark Magician as a fucking Garnet in your Gaia deck. Because that guy's also level 7, so you still keep your rank 7 access, right? Just run a Dark Magician as a brick, and you can make a guy who's technically bigger than your normal monster. He doesn't
Ironically,
double his attack, though, which is a little problematic.
I guess if you actually just had the fucking Red Eyes Dark Magician for like the Red Eyes fusion for the Dark Dragoon thing, I guess it would be less of a brick, I guess, anyway.
Well, yeah, I mean, but I don't think Gaia was running the Dragoon Red Eyes fusion brick anyway.
Yeah. Does it mention specifically Dark Magician?
Yes, it is exactly Dark Magician, and then one level 7 or higher dragon or warrior monster.
Okay, so I guess you can do it with Secrets of Dark Magic. The problem is that the payoff isn't there.
Yeah, no, I think it's cute. I like when they do these combos, right? Sorry, there was my sneeze from like an hour ago. But it's, I mean, there's a reason why it came out in a Battles of Legend, right? It came out in a side set, which is usually for like goofy anime shit.
It's like, I'll put it this way. This is what I think is directly competing with it in Dark Magician, which is Dark Magician the Dragon Knight.
Yes.
Which is blanket protection for all your spell traps. They can't be targeted or destroyed.
Yeah.
So literally, I think only evenly matched goes through it. any other non-target exile that I'm thinking of. I can't remember.
But yeah, like, so it's a cute concept. I appreciate these little touches, but it would be real nice if there was better synergy.
Yeah.
So
I mean,
now
it might make I don't know. It might be viable in a Gaia deck. Maybe.
Yeah, that's what I said. Like, I think you could in Gaia try and run it as a, you put one Dark Magician in your deck as a brick. If you summon the Curse of Dragon Magical Knight Dragon, he lets you graveyard summon, so you can just fucking, I don't know, run Magician Souls and fucking bin Dark Magician.
Yeah, no, that honestly that might be worth doing. Just Magician Souls.
Yeah, just do some funny stuff. But it's because it is not Gaia the Dragon Champion, it doesn't get the attack doubling effects you get from a lot of shit, so it's still awkward. It does float into Dark Magician and your Dragon Knight, though, so there's some weirdness there. I think it could work. It's just, again, it's kind of a weird one. And now, speaking of weird ones, we're going to wrap up with the Fire Synchros. Yeah, that is the Fusion one, so can I get fucking... Sorry, this card's not out in the TCG just yet. We're going to attempt to talk about Gaia Blaze, Force of the Sun.
Oh god, this art.
Which is a card that came out, literally comes out in like 2 days. It's in,
I still think it should have been called Flaming Gaia.
Yeah, probably, but I think they decided to go with a reference to the other Synchro Gaia name-wise. Because his original name in the OCG is Gaia Brezu Retsujitsu no Kishi, so Gaia Knight of the Blazing Sun. So he should probably be blazing, but they decided to keep him to the other thing. Sorry, it's big because I'm getting enough DeviantArt. Shrink him down. So, yeah, this isn't the worst. This looks a lot like the Synchro Gaia. His shoulder pads are much bigger now. We're drifting in the WoW direction. Drifting in that direction.
This is a very WoW. I would say this is a very WoW art as a whole, honestly.
Yeah, kind of.
Not just the shoulder pads, like the armor design.
Yeah, he has really big gauntlets now that I'm looking at it, and really stubby lances.
And that vibrant shade of red, which I do like.
The color is good, but the proportions on this weird robot Gaia are a little off. The fire effects are okay.
Yeah, this is some like Blood Legion shit.
He's very
what do they call it? Blood Knights? Blood Knights. I haven't played WoW in a while.
Oh, hey, holy shit.
Sloth.
Sloth's actually made it into the VC.
Yeah, I guess he was still waiting for his PC to boot up.
Well, you'll be able to make it for 14 time, but yeah, you've come at the very last card.
I know.
But yeah, well, there's two cards left because they made a fusion retrain of this guy because, like I said, they're like, holy shit, did somebody fucking remembered what's his face, the Universal Force. But Gaia Blaze.
Gaia Drake, the Universal Force.
Yes. Yeah. Gaia Blaze, Force of the Sun, is a level 7, Pyro Synchro effect monster. 2600 attack, 2100 defense. So he's got the stat line. He is generic, any tuner and non-tuner monsters. If this attacking card destroys an opponent's monster by battle, it can make it a second attack in a row. Once per turn, at the end of the battle phase, target fire monsters in your graveyard up to the number of monsters destroyed by battle this turn. Add them to your hand. He's okay. He's alright.
Actually, I think this card is really good in certain decks.
Yeah, I think he is... I don't know, like, how prominent Fire Synchro will be exactly. This guy is a Pyro, but there's a lot of fire decks that are getting support in general, so this guy is a generic 7.
Look, I will run him
Covers your
and
fires.
whatchamface. Quasar. My brain. Flameveil. No, not Flameveil. Lava.
Yeah, I mean, he's a Pyro.
Bitch.
It works.
He's a Pyro Synchro. I'll try it.
You could try to run him in Infernoble.
I think that's what people think he was.
He's not a warrior, though.
He is not a warrior, but he does
though.
recover fire, so I think he is possible to work in that deck.
Hence why I said try.
Yeah.
I mean, it doesn't unsynergize, because it is, unlike a lot of Yu-Gi-Oh decks, Infernoble is a very grindy deck.
Yes. And yes, Infernoble is synchro, and it is...
Maybe.
I mean, they have a link, but they are mostly meant to be synchroed. Like, there's a lot of synchro support for fires coming up.
I think they have 2 links. One of them is just awful.
One of them is very funny, and I like the concept a lot. We're going to make a Link one, but you have to sack a very specific monster that's very high level to make him.
Yeah.
We should. That's like
That was
actually
funny.
doing unique shit with the Link design.
Yeah, no, Infernobles as an archetype, I actually fucking love.
It's just that unfortunately they were attached to
Unfortunately,
a
smoke grenade
infinite
combos
hand rip.
exist.
And now our last card is very tiny because we only have the sample card art. Because this card isn't even, or no, it just came out in the OCG. It came out in Age of Overlord like 2 days ago.
Okay.
So this is
We've gotten Digimon.
so this is Shita no Kishi Gaia Prominence. Gaia Prominence, the Seraphic Knight. I believe we are saying that the translation of this will be probably be something like Gaia Prominence, the Kindling Seraph. So, Seraph?
This is a magic card.
Seraphic? I don't see it. He's got a
This
cool
is magic
horse.
card, right? You actually pulled up a magic card?
No, this is a card.
Oh.
This is a Yu-Gi-Oh
Alice,
card
what
from
do you-
2023.
Dallas, what are you talking about? He's a red-white card. He's a Boros
He is
card.
very... Look, Gaia does have the spirit of Boros in them. It's-
I mean, I
they are
appreciate that, like, again,
face.
this card's color
Without
scheme and
figure.
design implicitly acknowledges that Gaia Drake exists, which is good because Axe and I both said Gaia Drake had cool art. I guess you could argue he's seraphic because he appears to have multiple sets of flaming jets that are wings, maybe?
I'm gonna be real, Omega. 50% of the time, I'm not sure that Japan knows what seraph means.
That's also probably true. But yeah, so otherwise it's just a fiery Gaia, but more. And yes, I'm sorry the art is tiny, but like I said, this card like literally just came out in Japan earlier this week.
All I know is that Seraph is working for my favorite digital waifu, BB.
Oh, actually, yeah. Somebody mentioned the name of that one card. Was Fusion Armament?
It just means more important angel, basically.
Ah, yes. Okay, Fusion Armament. Yes, that's the card I was talking about. So Fusion Armament is a card that just came out in, or will come out in Dune. It says, reveal one fusion monster from your extra deck. Special summon one of the fusion materials mentioned on that monster from your extra deck or graveyard. But it can't attack and its effects are negated. You only activate one fusion armament per turn. So, with this guy, Gaia Prominence, because it name checks Gaia Blaze, you can use fusion armament to just summon out Gaia Blaze without needing stuff, because it doesn't say must be synchro summoned. So, and honestly, fusion, let me double check fusion armament. Was that deck or extra deck? Oh, from your extra deck or graveyard. Actually, yeah, no. I mean, that works with the Dark Magician Gaia Fusion as well. You could armament back Dark Magician. But yeah, so Gaia Prominence is a level 11 Pyro Fusion Fire monster. 3,500 attack, 3,100 defense. Its materials are simply Gaia Blaze plus one face-up monster you control. So you literally cannot super poly with, well, you can super poly with this, but it's not worth it. But just literally any face-up monster. And remember that because Fusion Armament exists, you can easily make Gaia Blaze even if you aren't running a Synchro deck. But Gaia Prominence also says, when your opponent activates a monster effect in the hand or graveyard, quick effect, discard one monster, negate, and destroy. When this attacking card destroys an opponent's monster by battle, target a fire monster in your graveyard, special summon it. You only use each effect of Gaia Prominence once per turn. This is a good card. This is a card that is going to go in some fire decks because it is a very large man. He is a pyro. It is a effect negation of hand or graveyard effects, which is good. Though it does cost, it means you have to discard a monster. And then it lets you special summon in the battle phase, which can help you push for lethal. So yeah, this is a solid card. And this is why I say I would like them to remember that they made the Link Gaia and the Xyz Gaia and come up with some weird fusions of that guy. Why is it only the Synchro ones that get fusions? But yeah,
I think synchro was a more popular mechanic.
I mean, kinda. Xyz is very, very popular, very steady.
People hated Zexal for no reason.
Yeah,
And
Zexal's
also
a little
liked
more-
5Ds for no reason.
Kind of true. I mean, it's not for no reason. I think 5Ds aesthetically has a lot of interest.
All right, they like edgy. I hate 5Ds so much.
But there's a lot of stuff going on here, and yeah. And that's it. That's all 20-something of these cards. That was the Gaia, the X-Knight. So, it Gaia is an interesting case where they've tried to workshop legacy support a couple of times. You know, when we eventually do the BLS side of this, because like I said, I'm sure that will show up as a poll result or something. Or we'll just make up some new shit because we're rapidly running out of Albaz. Just try to start.
I mean, we could do Visas.
I mean, I don't think we can because I don't actually think Visas is done.
I mean, the first arc is done.
Did we
I have a
actually conclude?
suggestion if you want for a really weird episode.
What do you think
Because
about?
he's
but I
collected
think
all the
it's
parts
worth going
himself.
over.
What was that?
Because I think the cards themselves are fucking amazing to go over.
Sorry, Dallas, I
We
didn't
could
hear
do
you.
the Lord of... Sorry. Because I think the cards are fucking fun to go over, and they're just ridiculous.
No, Dallas,
What
I
archetype?
don't know what you said we should look at.
Oh, sorry. The Magic the Gathering Lord of the Rings set.
Yeah. I mean, no, I think our fan base can be normal. There are some very not normal people about the Lord of the Rings crossover. But I think
Yeah,
I'm
but
pretty
those
sure
people
we
are-
won't get that crossover. We
yeah,
occasionally
I don't
get
think so.
outliers who come in for streams at random, but we'll see. I mean, we could throw it in. It's no longer April Fools, but we could tuck some other weird shit in. I also have been thinking about, because of recent Pokemon Brain stuff, looking at Pokemon TCG card art. I might take some suggestions
not a
from
bad
chat from that
idea.
one.
There are probably
Because
some
I
cool ones. I'm
remember
not
from
sure.
when I was a small
just-
kid some very jank Pokemon arts.
Oh, what was that set I fucking loved? There's one set of Pokemon cards that I fucking loved the idea of and wished to God they'd made it into a game and they never did. It was like Pokemon, but they were all fucked up and their types were like flipped. I can't remember what it was called.
I mean, they kind of do
Oh,
that with
right.
like regional variants, but anyway.
The Drip Beast
Hello,
is here.
Lucky.
Lucky's come to stalk
Nope,
us.
yeah, but this was like in like whenever
Delta
Emerald
series.
was the new.
Oh, yeah.
Somebody in
yeah,
chat said Delta
that-
series, yeah.
Oh yeah, Meg, you probably could do the outro, I guess.
I'm trying. I'm talking about future plans. Next week will be the conclusion of Albaz. If Axe is correct, I'll double check, but I think you're probably right. We could move on to Vsauce lore. That will only take us like a month, and then we can work
'cause
on
it's-
some. I know.
It's
I'm saying it because it's
Continue.
funny. But we can talk about Visas Starfrost as well, and we'll move on from there. But yeah, thanks so much for coming to this. This was a poll, by the way, Fail Patrol poll every month on our Patreon. Thank you so much for coming. Please don't forget to like the video as I look at the viewers and I look at the likes.
2 weeks in a row, baby.
Oh, I need to check fan funding because it says we gained a member from this, but I don't see an alert. So somebody like renew in the middle. I appreciate that too. I don't know. But yeah, so yeah, Loth got a double feature on the poll results, so we'll come back with more of that. Yeah, we'll probably do Albaz and then Visa Starfrost, because then we get to bitch about all kinds of new archetypes. Chat, I swear to God, though, if you do the frickin' Vanadium copy paste, I will turn off chat.
I think you should just let some people. You could just.
I'll say it out loud, and then
Silence
we
people.
won't ever say it again. But
I was
anyway.
saying you don't say it ever. You just
Shut
ban-
up.
Axe!
Shut up, Axe. Shut
Thank you, Lucky. Director Lucky coming in for an executive decision here. Okay,
I'll tell you
but yeah,
later.
you're not. That's not shutting up, Axe. I'm trying to do the outro. We'll probably do those next. After
not
that,
me
and
for
then we'll see
once.
about other weird shit and take your suggestions. Thank you so much. Please leave your suggestions in the comment section. Don't forget to like and subscribe. This has been another Fail Patrol episode. Good night, everybody.
Night, everybody.